Brilliant. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming on. It is late tonight, 11:30 p.m. over here. So maybe it's 12:30 where you're at on the East Coast. Maybe it's a little bit earlier on the West Coast. Wherever you are, thank you all for listening. To those that were waiting, those that are just tuning in. And today we do have a really, really interesting special guest on, Radical Latino. Thank you so much, my man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Now, we do have Juanchalo. He'll be coming in just a little bit later. So for all of you again that are big fans of him, don't worry. But yeah, I think Radical. What? And do you mind if I just call you by Radical? If that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, man. But we just our audience maybe don't know you as well as like others maybe we brought on. So maybe if you don't mind like introducing yourself as far as like who you are and just what you do like with your pod channel, YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, not a problem. First of all, thanks for having me. I go by the name The Radical Latino. I have a podcast named that as well, The Radical Latino, and my main message is basically to wake Latin people up from the systematic oppression that we are in. Basically, I just talk about white supremacy and how to unite Latin people in the historical issues that we faced, historically, and also to bridge the gap between Black and brown people and to have a more united front.
Hey, thank you, man. Sorry about that. A little bit of mic
No, it's all good. Don't worry about it. We all trying to work out the kinks here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're gonna say more?
Yeah. So that's what my message pretty much is. Because of that, I've been gifted the representation to being part of a top 17 Latin podcast list. I've been also put in a list of top 24 podcast influencers from the Bronx, because I am from from New York City. And I'm seeing that my message is actually growing and actually getting up and up and up and up and up and actually going to a lot of more ears. You know what I mean? So that's basically what I kind of do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I see your sub count and everything. People come in. You got a big audience that listens to you, man. So it's really impressive. And for a channel that's been only on for just a couple of years, you've managed to get a lot of subs. So that's really neat.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I maybe because of some of the stuff that I talk about, very controversial. The people who are against me are a lot more vocal than the people who are for me, and I think the chat is pretty much reflective of that.
we got a moderator in there who's going to take care of it.
Gotcha. But the thing is, the way I see it is, if you don't have a strong, receptive hate that's coming from a certain group of people, that means they're not doing nothing right. You know what I mean?
Hey, I agree with that. Hey, Radical, sorry about my late
hey, what's going on?
It's just that I get off work right at 11, so I had to race because it takes 30 minutes to get here. So I was just racing it, bro. I was like, shit. I was like, I better hurry the fuck up.
I got you. You were fast and furious up in here right now.
Yeah, that's right, man. Just to get on this podcast, man. But we don't want to name drop because we don't want to start like beef, right? With people.
I got you.
Right.
Really
Okay. Cool. But I mean, I have seen videos of your debates with certain people that have been funny as fuck, and I'm a fan of that. Videos about certain wannabe rap artists. That's pretty good. So I mean, hey, I'm just a fan because of that, and I remember like I scoped you out at first because I was like, let me like try from an alt account. Let me see what his stance is. I was like, do you like support like kind of like some of the things that we're more in line with? And you said, but you were talking about maybe you were thinking about a new racial category. And I was like, well, that's an interesting topic and something me and Marcus are really open to in general, because there has been pushback with identifying as Native, which I mean, that's to be expected. But before we get more into that, that's why we definitely wanted to have the conversation with you. I thought that was interesting when you brought it, because you were one of the few people that brought that up when I asked about this whole matter.
Of course. I could go a little bit more in detail if you like if you like. The thing is that we have to understand that it's as a bitter pill that I'm about to force everybody to ingest right now. But Latin people, we are a captive people. We are a people that were forced a certain language that were not original to us. We were forced a religion that was not original to us, and we were also forced a certain traditional values that was not original to us. So this, because of history and because of the modern age, there's a lot of historical things that we're actually finding out every day. There isn't no safe space or huge platform for Latin people to actually go and learn your real history. Now, with that being said, the fact that we have Afro Latinos, we have Indigenous Latinos, we even got some Euro Latinos, that's cool and all that, but that causes a confusion. Once we start causing confusion with different racial categories, that's when we'll start either one, going against one another, and two, that's when we'll start actually trying to actually start to how can I say this, redefine what Latin is, because now you have certain pockets of Latin people actually coming in and saying, well, the black Latin people aren't really Latin people, and this and this and this. Even the word Hispanic and Latin, it's a made-up term that was put upon us. So to actually break away from these made-up terms, we should come together as Latinos, as Hispanics, whatever you want to call it, and come up with our own racial classification. There's a lot of people that say black, we should identify with black. All right, cool. And there's a lot of people that say we should identify as indigenous, which is a little bit more accurate, but okay, cool. I'm not against that. But again, there needs to be a racial classification, because not everybody's going to be in the same boat. There's going to be a lot of conflict. So to mediate that conflict, we should come up with our own racial classification. And that racial classification should also have its own definition that identifies us as a people.
All right. So, certainly I agree with you, because there is, I'm not completely sold yet on, hey, let's not identify as Native. Like, that's what me and Marcus put out from the beginning. But we want to have this dialogue, because, the best ideas come when you put heads together, right? So we are certainly open to that. So, I myself and Marcus, the position on this podcast, we have a problem with Hispanic and Latino, because a lot of us, we're clearly not white people, and these are very Eurocentric terms. So that's why we're not fans of it. And they've never really sat right with me anyways growing up, but I've always been kind of confused by them in general. And so what I did is we released a series of polls on the podcast. And we'll get to what racial category you might suggest, but I just want to let you know what we've done so far.
Of course.
So
okay.
I asked people, I was like, well, what potential color would you identify to convey that you're Native, Indigenous, or Amerindian? We brought that up during the live. So the thing is, a lot of people, are on, support the notion of let's identify as Native, but there is a segment that's like, you shouldn't do that because a bunch of you don't belong to tribes. So that seems to be a hot debate that we constantly have. Where one side's very liberal, one side's very conservative about what that means, and one side doesn't think that if your blood or your race matters. It's all about community and having the culture, right? So, which a lot of us lack due to forced assimilation. So that's why I put this poll out. I was like, well, what if there's a middle ground, and it's just the traditionally indigenous could just continue to identify as American Indian, on the census and all that, because it does have that tribal community attachment as part of the definition. And then the rest of us that I guess were that racially speaking, we would just come up with something else, right? So that's why I put out that poll out. It's what color would you guys want to identify to convey your Native? So I had a couple of selections. I had copper, brown, red, gray, which gray was just kind of a bullshit thing I put in there, and then bronze. 45% of people said brown, 24% said copper, 15% said bronze, and 14% said red. So, most people were for brown, but when you take everybody else in the other categories collectively, 55% were not going to go for brown. So that was 130 votes that I put, that took place in this poll, right?
Yeah.
So then I did a follow-up one because at the time there was less votes than maybe there was like 90, so it was a little different. It was like more like close to 50% said brown at this point. And I'm looking at the polls now; they're a little different because people keep voting on it. They never close, right? So, gotcha. So I was like, okay, well, as a follow-up to most of you that chose brown, would you support a new race category on the census, which it would just be brown, and the definition would be a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America. So basically, it's literally the American Indian definition, but without the tribal community attachment portion. That's like sliced off. So, okay. And I thought this was a good definition because it's like, well, I mean, there's nothing controversial about it because all it is saying is that you have origins. Like, what controversy can you find with that? It's a fact a lot of us do have origins. You can't really debate that, right? So I was like, that's like a really non-controversial definition. 65% said they would go for it, but 35% said no. I myself like brown, like, so when I saw pop up a lot with people debating about it was, well, they're like, well, other races can be brown. And a lot of other people, like maybe like South Asians, say that they're brown, like, you know, that's what they identify with.
Yeah, of
but
course.
My counterpoint to it, because I was just trying to pick people's brains, was my counterpoint was, well, on this side of this world, this Western hemisphere, most people that are brown are because they have like indigenous origins. So, I mean, if anyone had a right to use it on this side of the planet, it would be us. That was my counterpoint to it.
Yeah. Now, that when you made that poll, is pretty much that's 3 out of 5 that said no to the whole, brown and, type of thing, right? That's what you got?
Yeah, because so out of 130 votes, 45% said yes for brown, and then the other 55% weren't unified on any other category. Like it was just like 24 were like, oh, copper would be good. Another 14% said red would be good. Another 15 said bronze would be good. Personally, I think copper sounds badass, so that's what I like. But people didn't. Agree. Go ahead, Marcus.
I was going to say, and with all due respect, Wanchalo, I guess you're fine with copper because, like with brown, in my opinion, maybe look at it from a numbers approach. Because if you look at the population of India, it's almost 1.4 billion people. Pakistan has a population of almost around 200 million people. And the other country, Bangladesh, has a population of about 140 million people. If you add that up, that's way more than the population of South America, way more.
Yeah.
South America does not have anywhere close to 1 billion people.
So your argument, Marcus, is because like there's more brown people on that side of the world than they trump us, basically. I mean, I can see where that's coming from.
Because technically, I don't know if this is going to be controversial. Technically, they're considered white.
They're not considered Asians. Like, why wouldn't they not be considered just Asians?
No, they're considered white in the census. The majority of them actually pick white in the census. And there was a poll, I think, that actually tried to understand that. How come they wouldn't pick Asian instead of anything else or whatever? But the majority of them pick white. But I just derailed it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I thought that there were like, under the census, they were put as Caucasian white because I know Middle Easterners are under that. We brought this up in other podcasts. They pushed for like a MENA category in the United States Census, and I think the Obama administration had been in favor for that. But then, for some weird reason, when the Trump administration came in, they canceled it. And this is the Middle Eastern, Arab Americans that push for this. So they are still currently under like the European, white category. So I guess people.
Although I do support them making that a category because they're not really considered white people here in this country. So it would make sense for them to have some separate.
I know no white American that thinks of them as white.
No, me either. But it's kind of weird how they would classify themselves or get classified under the white label, which is like super weird.
It is really strange. I think that maybe like, I don't know, some government officials want the.
It happens to us all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that white label gets brushed upon many other groups who aren't white. So, it's not that far-fetched of the imagination to figure out why, and if you really tangibly look at some of the numbers, you understand why, the white population is going down, and there has to be some way of subconsciously trying to up those numbers, so if you're going to try to up those numbers through just some database with little numbers going up and graphs and stuff, yeah, you're going to look powerful doing so. But when you actually see, face to face, the people that they're classifying as white aren't white, that's when that's when you're going to have to start to question certain things.
Yeah, and here's the thing that maybe you might have you now. If I'm correct, I've listened to some of your podcasts. Radical, are you half Dominican nationally?
Yeah, I'm Dominican and Ecuadorian.
Okay, have you been to the Dominican Republic?
I've been to Dominican Republic and Ecuador and Puerto Rico and parts of Cuba and all through South America. Not all through South America, but most of the parts of South America.
That's pretty interesting. We brought this up in another video. I mean, that's fascinating that you've been to so many places. We brought this up in another video, how like in the, I don't know if it was Dominican Republic or Cuba, but in those islands, a lot of people that were actually looked fairly dark, called themselves white or, saw themselves like European. So it's, I
believe it's a combination of things. One is a combination of trying to preserve yourself as a way to identify with the powerful class, in order for them not to get victimized.
Sure.
Also, it's another way it's a cognitive dissonance in a way where if said person identifies as white and constantly reminds themselves and everybody else around them that they are, that's when they'll start cleansing themselves of saying, okay, well, I'm not this person or I'm not negative like this because I am blah blah blah, so it's a very interesting thing why certain people identify themselves as certain things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I get you, and I kid you not, these people were as dark as me, saying that they're European. Like, y'all aren't European.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've seen it myself.
Well, I was going to ask because I'm not too familiar, but are there still like are there in the Dominican Republic, is it mostly white and black people, or are there still a lot of like natives or mixed natives there?
Well, if you wanna go through just the color gambit of things, there's pretty much light brown to dark brown people. That's the majority of it. I'm not talking about racial wise how they identify. The majority of the Dominican Republic identifies as a mixed, but if you actually go there, you won't. With your eyes, you won't see mixed. What you'll see is a bunch of black or brown folks walking around. You know what I mean? That's what the majority of the Dominican Republic is. So when it comes to identification, that's a whole different ball game. You could have somebody as dark as Sammy Sosa, how he used to be, and coming in and saying, "No, papi, me white." You know what I mean? So that's the thing about certain people's identity. Regardless of what you see yourself or whatever the case is, you're gonna still go off the cuff and try to save yourself mentally.
Sure. No, I can see how that might be. You get more dicey when you get in further into the demographic realm of like who really is like native and who is black and whatnot. But I know there's issues right now going on in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. There's a lot of Haitians that are like going into that country, like I guess illegally, and there's like a huge backlash from the government.
Yeah, there's whenever you have two countries together and separated by some border, and different countries don't agree with each other or whatever from throughout politics or whatever, and they need certain help or whatever, they're going to go to the more powerful country, even though Dominican Republic and Haiti are both economically seen as third world countries, but Dominican Republic economically is a lot better off than Haiti. So yeah, it makes sense why Haitians would go to Dominican Republic for either refuge, economic benefits, better living conditions, so on and so forth. And also, Haiti right now is going through crazy turmoil. Their president got assassinated, and then a couple of days after that, they get a massive earthquake. So there's a lot of things happening right now in that country.
Yeah, yeah, it's really unfortunate, man. And it goes all the way back to history, like during the Haitian
Yeah,
Revolution, and then after that, like so many countries like put bans on them, like especially like the European countries.
yeah,
So it's been a sad state of affairs. But I wanted to go back to you,
yeah, yeah,
Radical.
yeah.
Yeah, and like what made you want to create this channel? I saw that you started in 2018.
Yeah.
So
My first two episodes were on May 2018. The main reason why I wanted to start it is because of I kept on seeing the negative outcry, the negative message that was being sent out for Latin people. When Trump was in office, calling Latin people rapists and illegal immigrants and stuff like that. You had Tommy Lauren go into a segment talking about how Mexicans come into this country, Hondurans come into this country, disease ridden, and they don't bring no benefit into this country, which we all know it's a complete lie. So once I started seeing that, I also started seeing other things that certain Latin people were making our name look bad. So because of that, I said I have to at least do my part, try to bridge the gap, and also try to go against the certain narratives. That's the main thing that we need to do. When Latin people right now have a certain narrative of immigrants, and that's a negative connotation when it comes to our image in the media or socially. Whenever certain people see Latin people, automatically they think they're illegal or whatever the case is. So once we start getting control of that narrative and flipping it into a positive, that's when I think we should start seeing some positive change in our image. But before then, there's a lot of hard work that we need to do. So because of that, that's when I said, you know what, I got to do something. So I decided to start a podcast and a YouTube channel with that, and try to have a positive message when it came to our affairs.
yeah, and I gotta say, man, you've made some good content too. Like I said, a lot of it's made me laugh. Like I said with the arguments, man. I really wanna call out one channel that's so irrelevant that it won't affect me and Juan.
Okay.
Juan Chaloa, the MX guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't care
Okay.
about that. I'll say it. Like that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
so funny, man. Oh my gosh, you going back and forth.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I debated some of these asshats. I debated some of them. I made videos about them and stuff like that. It's 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 a way for me to show how ridiculous these people's talking points are. And on
sure.
top of that, again, they think that they're just doing this online and stuff. Our image is being negatively impacted by these type of rhetorics and these type of people. So we can't just be laughing it off, thinking like, oh no, it's just a little weirdo in a basement just making YouTube videos. No, we have to take these type of things serious. So because of that, that's the reason why I take the stance that I take, and I make the videos that I make, and do the debates that I make. It's the debates is not for me. The debates is to actually show how weak-minded their narrative is.
Yeah, and it is, man. Oh my gosh, and we'll dive into that more. But
Gotcha. You let me know what your favorites are. So
I will. Oh, don't worry, I will. And for those that like didn't know what I'm talking about, like there's a certain channel, I guess you could call it, named like MX, and he was debating, arguing with Radical, and this guy is just a complete fool. All I'm gonna say. But,
yeah.
You just
so
made another enemy, Marcus.
I mean, what does he have? Like, does he have like what, one or two subscribers? So I think we'll be good.
Yeah.
Like 0. What's that? Like probably his mom and his dad. So
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah,
all
don't
right.
worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, going back though. Now you've been to Ecuador in
Yeah.
Quito.
Quito and Guayaquil, even certain parts of the outskirts of Ecuador, playas. I've been all over Ecuador.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so jealous. I've never been there. And now,
Oh, you gotta go, bro. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, I got an invite to go with from a friend, so I really need to get out there, man. That there's just so much there, and
Yeah, it's a lot of history. It's a lot of beautiful places to see, especially finding out when your mom starts speaking Quechua out of nowhere fluently to the natives. You're like, wait, what?
oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah,
wow,
yeah. She just broke that out of nowhere. She's like something like we've never like we won't question it. Like, oh yeah, I speak Quechua, and I'm like, when did you decide to tell us? You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I told her, yo, you got to teach me.
oh that's amazing.
Yeah, dude,
Man,
that's
I just
freaking
didn't know.
legit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She then she started breaking out some history talking about, oh yeah, that was my native tongue before I started speaking Spanish. I'm like, excuse me, what? You know what I mean? And then that's when
wow,
I started seeing my grandma. I was like, oh, wait a minute. There is some native in you. What the hell? So that's when I started to connect all these little dots. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
oh, I get it. Okay. There's a reason why we live in the mountains.
Yeah, yeah. Ecuador is like always half a mountainous area. Like there's a lot of
Oh
jungle, and then you've
yeah.
got the coast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like one of our videos that me and Wanchaloa like talked about, or one of the subjects in the video was like saying how like Peru and Bolivia are overwhelmingly indigenous native population, and
Yeah.
Ecuador was also included in that. Would you agree that you like most of that country, or at least from what you've seen, like do
But what
look
I've seen, yeah, I've seen a majority native population when you
population?
go up into the mountains
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say mid range into the some of the towns like little villages and stuff like that. When you get into the mainland cities and town areas, it's mostly either brown or European. But when you get into the little more poorer areas, into the beaches and stuff, you'll start seeing the African population. But the majority, like you said, is native.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting that you said there's an African population, because I found out that there was like a small population there.
Oh yeah, it's
And
not super huge.
yeah.
I'll say the European population in Ecuador oversees the African population, and I'll say I'm a just guesstimate right now. Don't quote me on this, but I'll say 4 to 5. So it oversees it. But there is a African population in Ecuador. They're the fishermen's. They're the ones running small little, little hole in wall restaurants or whatever, trying to just make ends meet and stuff. Trying to get some of the local tourists
Sure.
in and try to, you know what I mean. So there is a native, there was an African population there.
Yeah, yeah, that's really fascinating. And it's kind of like reminds me of Belize too. I was in Belize in the summer, and there's like a
Yeah,
significant African population there as well, especially like on the
yeah.
islands and whatnot. And you said you've
Yeah, I
been to
like. I wanna apologize for the whole dislike bombing thing. My bad.
Oh, I mean, we figured it was
You're
because of
good.
Hispanistas and other trolls or whatever.
Oh,
So
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
It looks like I bring them out, man. Listen,
yeah,
They're
dude, like
following you, man.
dude, you live in their heads rent free, like we say on this podcast, bro.
dude,
They running
listen,
after you.
listen. I'm telling you, and I should have warned you guys before. I tell this to other people. I didn't tell this to you guys. I always say, listen, if you're gonna have me on, either a couple of things is gonna happen. You're gonna have some crazy comments, or you're gonna get dislike bombed like crazy. So
Yeah,
it's you get the good with the bad. You know what I mean? It just helps out the algorithm, so it's all good.
yeah. I mean, it helps us out either way. I mean, either way, we're gonna get money because we got this shit
Yeah,
monetized.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I always
Mm,
say to people that hate on us.
Yeah.
But
Also, just this little inside thing, a little inside YouTube thing. If there's a ratio of dislikes and ups, that means YouTube says, "Oh, this is controversial. Let's push it."
oh
So
shit.
yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that, but
I know
yeah,
that.
No, so that's more effective than, let's say, having 80 likes and like 2 dislikes. It's better to have
yeah.
like a little
So
more.
so if it's like 80 likes and I'm gonna just say 20 dislikes or 30 dislikes, YouTube is gonna say, "Wait a minute, this is controversial, and also the views are going up, so they're gonna keep on pushing to recommend it and stuff.
Okay.
So that's a little insight for you.
Yeah, getting some insight from a superior YouTuber here, man, with your almost 4,000 subs, bro.
I'm not no superior person. I'm
I don't say it in any bad way, dude. I mean, you almost got 4,000. That's pretty legit.
Yeah. Nah, I try. It's all luck. Don't ask me for advice.
Sure, man. Yeah, but I was gonna ask you, do you live in New York? Most of your life?
Yes,
New York City.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York City.
Okay, cool. So city guy then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, city kid.
Yeah, that's cool. Me and Juancho, a little bit different location. I grew up in the Midwest, so like cornfield world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was adopted, so it's a different world for me, but
Oh yeah.
It is cool. But now with Juancho, he's from the South.
Oh yeah, so, I grew up in Alabama.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I grew up. Yeah, dude, I grew up around like mostly like I mean there are people that are Mexicans or whatever over here, but it was the overwhelming majority is just white people. I mean, there are black people. There's more black people than there are Mexicans. I'll say that, right? But even then, it's not even an even split. Like 70% of my high school, 80% was white people. So yeah. Which it's funny because there's been people that have like attacked me before. They're like, "Oh, you sound like a white guy," and I'm like, "Bro, you're gonna sound like whatever you grow up around. Like if you grew up in the UK, you'd have a UK accent. Like it's not really out there for me to have a Southern accent."
Yeah. Wow, Alabama. That's pretty crazy. Did you hear like a bunch of like banjo playing like this?
When you get a little further south from my city, dude, like my city is like, I mean, it's the best Alabama has to offer, but it's like a bastion of hope. Like, police officers here will be like, as fair as you can get in Alabama, you know what I mean? So like, it's like, but the moment you leave the city, it's like, oh shit, bro, like better fucking watch your back.
That's crazy. I heard crazy things about good old Alabama, So.
Oh yeah. Now I have black friends and everything, and they I mean, there's places I can name off the top of my head that I'm like, those would be considered like sunset areas for them. Really? Probably for me too. Like I've never risked it, nor would I want to fucking go risk that anyways. But yeah. I highly doubt there'd be that much of a difference. Like either way, they hate Mexicans as much as they hate black people. A lot of racists. So
talk about sundown towns.
Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely some here in Alabama. Like you would not want to go there, Marcus. Just saying.
And there's this is the funny part about because I think you mentioned the Hispanistas and stuff. Mind you, most of their rhetoric is about preserving the old colonial Spanish order and preserving some of their Catholic values and stuff. And their claim is not to, kiss up to the Spanish royal, but in reality, they kind of are. If you really peel back the layers, they kind of are. And it's so funny. For some reason, they like to adopt white supremacist type of talking points and ideologies. If you really, really break it down. And the thing is, I don't know if you guys seen it, but I interviewed a former Nazi that was in the Nazi party, some white dude, and he even said it himself that they would accept certain Latin people in just for the moment, but then have them kicked out or whatever the case is. But either way, they still viewed Latin people the same way how they view black folks, and it just it's a little mind baffling to me that certain Latin people will actually engage in those type of type of like behavior type of aspects,
Yeah, and well, one other thing I wanted to get your or maybe you can explain this is like, so a lot of these Hispanistas like. They're pro white supremacy, or they identify as white. The whole Hispanic white thing, or Spaniards thing. But yet they're very anti-Anglo, and then they're like, but we're not white people. Some of them are. But it's like, but you are saying you're white. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, like that split between Anglo, Iberio.
It's a deflection tactic. You got to understand something that because they say we're against the Anglos. In reality, they're meaning Jews. This is something. This is something what they mean. They mean Jews, and they adopt white supremacist talking points. Just listen to them very clearly. They adopt the white supremacist talking points. When it comes to those type of things, they even have white supremacists in their mix who are white and repeat their same narratives. They don't say nothing about that, but if you want to go technically, they're Anglos themselves, right? So that's a very big contradiction to their message. So that they're basically white supremacists with some adobo powder on top. That's all that they are.
And so I like, wow. I thought when they said Anglos, it's like, oh, well, we're Ibero and we're against people from England, people from Germany, people from those northern regions. I thought that's what they meant when they said Anglo, but I didn't know they meant Jews. Like,
no, that's what they mean. They mean Jews. They want to deny it, but that's all BS. If you really break everything down, that's what they mean. They even talk about one of them. I'm not going to say their name. One of them talks about jam culture. And if you want to know what jam culture is, he breaks that thing down. Judaic, Anglo-Masonic. Dude, it's right there. You know what I mean? And the thing is that's their whole talking point. It's just Jews, I'm not trying to get your thing dinged, but small hats, anti-Semitic rhetoric. And then when you say, oh, wait, you're actually saying some white supremacists. No, we're against the Anglos, but you never say nothing about the Anglos. No, we are, but don't worry about that. You know what I mean? It's not consistent.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, like I didn't know that. I didn't know that what the nuances were for that. So thank you for explaining that.
Yeah. It's all a smoke screen when it comes to what they say. They say one thing, and then you just got to look at what their speech patterns are and talking points are. On top of that, whatever. On top of that, look at who's following them. Just look at who's following them. If there's a bunch of racists following them, and because most racists like to pick up on little dog whistles, then best believe they're racist themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard to tell.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, it's just funny seeing you engaging, but yeah. One other question that I have for you regarding those Hispanistas. So are they're still for like the Spanish caste system that was outlawed in 1821? They're still like, oh, everyone's has to fit these little boxes.
I have no idea. But from the time that I've engaged with them or some of their talking points, they call that whole caste system a myth. They put it under the Black legend. So if anybody understands because it's hilarious. If you actually see and study what the Black legend is, it's something that Spaniards came up with, saying that other European countries are putting our name down and saying that we made a bunch of horrific atrocities. So under this label, this is what we're calling it. It's just a legend because it's all myths, but in reality, it's not. If you go through historical records and you go through historical journals and documentations, you'll see that everything that the Spaniards actually did was actually factual. Everything that the Spanish did, they did create a caste system. So what some of these Hispanistas like to say is say, oh no, that didn't happen. You're going based on some Black legend nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a way to deflect. But in reality, these type of things did actually happen. Now, on top of that, they like to do something new now. They're not saying that they're going into the whole race talk. So they say that they're ethnically aware of certain things. So what they want to push is this ethnic type of ideology where Hispanos, what they call themselves, is a ethnic group. And if you go into the whole race category, that's just you're going into the Black legend, and you're doing the bidding of Jews and all this other stuff, and they go into this whole big conspiracy theory BS.
God, I'm just laughing because they say that the caste system is not a thing. I've literally done my genealogy. So my story is I did a DNA test. I saw what came out of that, right? And then I started doing a lot of family research, like about 700, 800 hours of genealogy work. At this point, like I would say I'm close to a professional level, because I've even had professional companies go through my stuff, and they verified my findings, right? So I'm very good at what I do. Okay. And I found plenty of records that they, like, from all these places in Mexico where my ancestors are Indios, Mestizos, Coyotes, Mulattos. So it's like, you can't say that this caste system didn't exist. It's literally documented. I have fucking like actual Mexican records that show this, like even back in the 1700s. Like that's ridiculous. Like they're there, they're online. It's not Black legend.
Yeah. And they will probably tell you that you probably got it from a liberal textbook or something like that. So again, they will try to find a way to deflect and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they'll just play mental gymnastics then.
Yeah, pretty much.
And for those of, I think I saw a comment or two that said they were a little bit lost, or didn't know where you're at. We were talking about Hispanistas, and essentially Hispanistas believe that we should embrace like who we are racially, as in terms of like accepting like Spanish heritage, Native heritage and whatever other heritage, but use it on a Eurocentric level where we should be always like praising Spain all the time, and we should be
because they say without Spain and without Spanish we would not have anything.
Yeah, and I think they said that we were uncivilized before Spain. At least they would agree with that. Hispanistas would agree with that term. But honestly, like the people that you like argue with, man, they just make me laugh. Like just the silly things that they say, or like we'll get into that more. But just like Black legend. And here's the thing. And for folks that are listening, this is a really important part that I'm about to say. Is just like, again, like Black legend is something that the Spanish made up to avoid the atrocities that they, to make the atrocities that they committed just disappear.
Yeah,
like it didn't happen.
Exactly.
And all you have to do is just look at the demographics of the Caribbean islands and see if it was such a Black legend.
Continue, Marcus. I'm pulling out a source because I think Radical actually like this regarding the whole Black legend thing.
Why would someone think that Jamaica and Haiti are mostly, Black populations? Do they think that all the natives just decided to like get off the island? I was like, no. Like, so the Spaniards eliminated, slaved away, or just killed off most of the natives of the majority of the population on these islands, and then shipped in millions of African slaves. That is why you see Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, and all those other islands. That's why the Black legend is nothing more than some Spanish-made term to hide away their atrocities. What's funny is that like I was looking at the analytics of our channel, and there were people from Spain that watch us. So I was just like, I wonder if they agree or disagree.
Listen, on my podcast, there's like a good 6 to 8 people that constantly download my episodes from Spain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know it's them because their IP address comes out. And I know that it's there constantly, so I'm like, oh, they're subscribed. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I was gonna show you this from the Black legend thing. So, because of my genealogy, I discovered I was Guachichil, which is basically a Native American group in San Luis Potosí. They're still around, so I approached them with my research, and they accepted me as a member. So I'm going to go see them in
Yeah. Oh, shout out to you, bro. Uh-oh.
Thank you. I'm going to go see him here in like 14 days. But anyways, the Guachichil historians been giving me a lot of sources and things to read to like educate myself. Obviously, when I go, they'll show me a lot more stuff, right? But and one of these sources, the Spanish did commit genocide against my tribe, But I wanted to read this line for you. So, Gonzalo de las Casas, he was a Spaniard. whose account of the Chichimecas was intended to justify Spanish warfare against them to show how savage they were, right? To justify it. Could not help but notice instances of Spanish treachery, the surprise attacks, and the promise of peace that ended with the Spaniards capturing the Indians and turning them into slaves. So even a fucking Spaniard that's trying to make a narrative and justify the war admitted to how like big of bastards they were. So I thought that's funny.
Can you do me a favor? Can you PDF file that to me? Like take a photo and email it or something.
Yeah,
I would definitely love to use that source.
No, yeah, definitely, and like especially because I've run into Hispanistas that are like people that really defend Spain, that they're like, oh, they never committed genocide, like, and it's like, no, they did it to the Chichimeca groups, including my own tribe, like they did it, like, because there was a 50-year-long war, of 50 to 1600, and they did pursue a policy of genocide against my people, and it is documented in sources.
Yeah, what we have to understand that the caste system was the first iteration of white supremacy. That's something that we have to understand. Is the first historical inkling of white supremacy. The fact that you get benefits and status based on your skin color is a huge factor in this whole thing that we have to really dive into. When we talk about white supremacy, this is the type of thing that we have to go back into the histories and actually point out. Without that, it would not be any other, type of racialized victimization when it comes to our people. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I have a scholarly book I read called Before Mestizaje, where the university professors even stating that people back then would purchase whiteness if they had enough money. They could purchase it, legally speaking. Why would you have to purchase whiteness in a non-racist society like the Hispanistas claim? It's like because it was a thing. If you were white on paper or whatever, it brought you benefits. So that's why people bought it.
And that's the thing. When it comes to certain people's talking points, talking about there's no racism, and then in the same breath, go out and say, well, I got my black friend over here, and everybody's attitude changed when I tell them that he's Cuban. Why would their attitude have to change if there's no racism?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any type of sense. So again, we have to, when it comes to these Hispanistas or Hispanoteps, how I like to call them, we really got to really break down their rhetoric and their logic and actually challenge them on the BS, because let's be honest, it's all BS. None of it makes sense,
Right. Yeah. I mean, from what I gather, it's just a bunch of intellectual dishonesty and just mental gymnastics. Is trying to, and then dismissal, black legend, everything, So there's not really substance behind any of these arguments. They're all easily deconstructed.
Oh yeah, and especially if you get somebody with lower IQ count, that tries to pass off as an intellectual, and you challenge their beliefs, they're gonna start cutting you off, calling you names, and all this other stuff. But you gotta remember, in any discussion, in any debate, once you abandon your argument and you go into personal attacks, that person lost. That's it. They lost. You won. It's over. You know what I mean? But we have to really look at these so-called intellectuals who say, don't get personal, and then 2 seconds later start going into a fit because you called the Spanish rapists.
Oh my God. This and I know who we're talking about, and
I have no idea who we're talking about.
You're right. Yeah, you don't know who we're talking about. And the certain channel brought up how like the Spaniards were so attractive and good looking, so native women flocked to them, or he said it in some sort of romantic way, and I was just like, God damn. Did he also say that this is where we get our Latin lover type of thing? I think he said something like that too. And that's where he just lost all my respect. Is when he started saying that stupid stuff. I'm like, damn.
I didn't know I don't know, paintings of Spanish men forcing themselves on top of Native women, and their faces are like screaming to like get off of me. That you see that and say, Spanish lover. Oh my God, she so wanted him. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
God, man.
And this guy was calling them like handsome and attractive. I'm like, no, they're ugly as shit. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's really weird. You gotta have a cognitive dissonance to actually see the atrocities that your ancestors went through and say, you know what? They actually wanted this. These are the same people that say that black folks would pray to be slaves in the Spanish order, which is complete nonsense. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It does not make sense.
Jesus,
Yeah.
those
Another
are some
thing that-
really nonsensical statements. Oh, go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to like stop you. I was just like going to say something like that. This certain human being said that like if he was like a black slave, if he had to pick which country to be enslaved in at a port of either Spain, Portugal, Britain, or what, Netherlands or some other Western European countries, he said Spain. It's like I would not choose Spain to be at a slave port at. Jesus Christ.
I think that he's missing the word slave. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, maybe because he said, if I choose to be a slave at, like, dude, the word's in there, slave. What are you? You think you're gonna get a check at the end of the day? No, you're gonna get your ass whooped. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just this stupid stuff. Like, so these Hispanistas, I don't know. I honestly think, Juan Chiloa, I think that these gatekeeper people would actually cause us more frustration than these Hispanistas, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I would say, man. Like Radical, me and Marcus had a joke about Hispanistas. We were saying like half the people that are Hispanistas on YouTube, like if we went back in time, their asses would be on the encomienda, bro. They wouldn't even be like conquistadors.
I said that to one guy who said that. It was like he was saying how he was like, yeah, I praise my Spanish ancestors. And I'm like, dude, you'd be on the encomienda so fast, you'd be working in the dang mines.
Yeah, first of all, the thing is that I understand what some of them talk about, where they say that we have three races, the Spanish, Black, and Native. I get that. I totally get that. But why suck up just to one? You know what I mean? Like these are the people that don't have no historical reference whatsoever, who are not well-rounded. You know what I mean? And people like them attack me, talk about I'm anti-white. I'm like, no, not whatsoever. I'm not ashamed of nothing that I have. I even put out my DNA results. Came out that I am like majority indigenous. Like 40-something% indigenous, which is actually kind of surprising to me. I was like, oh wow, really? But the fact is that these people really go out of their way to just suck up to one side, and it gives a desperate vibe,
Yeah, I think so. They're definitely super desperate. I don't know what like their main goal is. Like, do they want the world to be Hispanicized? I don't know. They're crazy.
Well,
people.
they're claiming that it's going to be that way due to the fact that Hispanics are now the largest group in the United States. So
I saw that argument too, where he was like, this person was being like, "Yo, we're gonna take over the U.S." I'm like, God damn! Like that's where you lost all credibility, my friend. And you said that.
I'm like, dude. I'm like, all right, it's not that sick. Relax. Relax.
Freaking insane. Yeah, it's like
the last time I checked, no white person, especially a Spaniard, looks at these people and accepts them. That's the thing that does not. It just doesn't correlate with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. Like, and I would love to like get more of a perspective from people from Spain and what their thoughts are on this. And from what I understand, and I brought this up in another podcast, as far as like their thoughts on like feeling apologetic, I heard it's like half the population does, and the other half is just like screw it.
Yes, same here. Same here. I think was it Mexico tried to ask Spain for an apology,
Yeah, the president did.
and Spain basically just said to kiss their ass.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much the consensus right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's we just gotta keep it real. We are a new set of people. You know what I mean? With different tradition and different ways of living, and that's something that I believe that once we start getting more into it, we'll start understanding.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think there needs to be like a new direction as far as like finding out more about ourselves. And those are like, I'm talking about like people from Central and South America too, where we've been taught like most of their lives about like learning these like Eurocentric labels and doing away with any sort of native blood you might have for a more like whiter uh, skin complexion identity. Um, and it's sad. It's hard to change that when you have a media system that pushes that 24/7. Um, and then you have like the education system. So the media and education and parents. So those are the three things that I think teaches kids in so-called Latin America that like that we aren't like a native person at all. We're this like new race, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I see it that way too. But you guys were basically talking about how we have to claim indigenous status, correct?
I You want to talk one or I'll.
Yeah, so like we've been saying that racially speaking, people should do that because I mean most of us are at least half or close to half. So I think it's definitely valid. I mean, we look the part. That's why a lot of people look the way they do, like Mexicans included, like especially Mexicans. Um, and I just thought like it's valid. Like there's been counterpoints about like, oh well, you guys are mixed and blah blah. But I'm just like, well, I mean, if you look at like black people, they're also mixed on average. And if you look at Barack Obama, he's considered black and he's only half black. So it's like
Yeah,
you
of
can't
course.
use the whole you're mixed and you got to be 100% when you don't use it on all these other people. Like you got to be consistent
Yeah,
here. And
and
nobody has an answer like a rebuttal to this because they know they don't use the same logic with other races.
Yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, I do agree to that because mix isn't a race. It's just another way to deny the majority of what you are, right? And if you want to go phenotypically, the majority of Latin people are indigenous. Phenotypically, if you really want to go there, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Let's
Like
go there.
when I did my whole face reveal and stuff like that, there was a bunch of messages talking about, "Yo, radical, you look like an Indio." You know what I'm saying? So the fact is that phenotypically we are indigenous. The thing is that most of these indigenous native treaties don't really apply to us, and that's my issue, because it's cool if we claim indigenous status, and I'm not against that. That's 100% cool, and I'm for it. Sometimes I do it. I go interchangeably. The thing is, some of these Indian native treaties doesn't apply to us, like the 1774 one. It doesn't apply to Latin people. And but I believe some of the other indigenous treaties about land grants and all this other stuff, they have these treaties in the books talking about how certain tribes are granted certain land in the United States. And if you're of Latin descent, you will not get that until that tribe accepts you. And that tribe needs to be a bloodline descent. So you see how it gets funny. So that's the reason why I say, so we can stop all the confusion. Maybe we as Latin people should go into a make our own racial category. You know what I mean?
So, like, the reason why they have that is because the U.S. government's only going to recognize the natives that were situated here when they conquered or they formed their settler state, right? So it wouldn't make sense for them to recognize anybody down south because they didn't have any interactions like directly with that at the time. I know in Mexico there is like the Constitution of Mexico does recognize indigenous peoples, and they do have certain protections under the Constitution. And I'm not super educated on a bunch of other countries, but I'm sure they have similar type of agreements. And Daniel Valencia, which is a Tarahumara that or a Raramuri that constantly watches our podcast, does say that south of the border, indigenous peoples that still have the community do have like status with the UN, or they're recognized by the United Nations as opposed to like the US government. So there are distinctions with that. When me and Marcus say it, it's more so like we don't mean it in terms of a trying to get benefits or anything. We're meaning it in terms of a social and political like maneuver, as in like, look, this is reclaiming what you are. That's your race, but like, you know, leaving all the benefits and all that to the people that are still very traditional and still have those communities. That's our stance on it. But I do, but however, there is pushback because there are those that are traditional that are in tribes that support what we're doing, and they're like, okay, this is a good thing, right? You know, getting mestizos back to their indigenous roots. But there's also another side that doesn't support it at all. They're like, well, you guys, just because you took a DNA test doesn't mean that you're indigenous, because their definition of indigenous, you have to have the community, you have to have grown up with it, you have to have the culture and all that. So there is argumentation with that, and it's two opposing views.
I disagree with that part. I believe that we should be accepted and should, because we have a more, not more, but we have equal rights to that type of land as well. The thing is that, you know, historically we've been, we've been basically castrated from that type of land and history and culture. So it's not our fault. You know what I'm saying? We're just victims of the victimization that the Spanish did to us. But I do believe that we do deserve equal parts of that. And I understand their plight, and I understand where they might say, hey, you know, you're just taking advantage of a certain, you know what I mean? So I get that. But again, if we are in a gray area, you know what I mean? We're in this gray area that I see. And I believe maybe the confusion will stop once we start classifying ourselves as something that we might come up with.
Right. I mean, well, I still like remain with my position of like, we should, like, if we're going to say that we're indigenous, it should just purely be a no benefits type of thing.
Of course.
Political and social, because we don't want to infringe on any sovereignty any groups have. That's just our position. But because there is that debate with the whole, well, you didn't have the tribe and all that, which, I mean, again, our point has always been like, well, our ancestors were forcibly assimilated. There was genocide. There was all these different things that caused that. And so you can't really, in my opinion, it's callous to blame the descendants for that and be like, well, your ancestor decided not to be native anymore. It's like, well, bro, like it could have either been life or death, or again, they're like, the government really mistreats you and it forces you to do all these things. So that's why I don't think it's fair to like take it out on the descendants and be like, oh, well, you guys, it's all your fault. Like you're the villains, you know. But that's why I'm saying, like, I do think maybe one solution forward, like is what you say, is instead of having so much debate and constant infighting about that issue about like, oh, well, you know, these traditional people don't want us to be indigenous and this side does accept us and all this conundrum, maybe a new racial category would work to solve that issue, right? We're not completely sold on it, but we still want to think about this. We still want to talk about this.
And mind you, the definition for this racial category is based on, you know, ties to the land that our parents come from, or we come from. So that still is part of indigenous land.
Right, because the definition would still be having origins, right, in the original people. So, which again is not even it's not a controversial definition. It's just saying you have origins. I mean, we have the ancestry. You can't deny that, right? For a lot of us. So, what do you like? Like I said, I did the poll number. I did the polls. Like, this is what I found with our subscribers. Again, like a lot of them have the issue with. This is what I noticed with the racial category. So I've noticed that racial categories revolve around color, or they revolve around geography, right? Like, you know, Asians for the Asian continent, Pacific Islander for the islands, right? Or white or black for colors. That's what I've noticed with racial categories. A lot of people don't like using the continent or the geography, because they're like, well, American is derived from the Amerigo guy that supposedly the continents are named after. So they don't like American. So that kind of rule, like for a lot of people, it kind of rules out. Well, at least I guess a lot of the people that are like more knowledgeable at that, it rules out using American or anything like to do with that. Or they don't like Amerindian. They don't like that because of the Indian portion. They're like, well, we're not Indians from India, but Amerindian, like, so there's two different definitions, right? And I'll tell you why I think Amerindian could be an option. So American Indian is what's on the census right now, which is talking about you have to have the tribal community, you have the origins, right? That's what American Indian, that's what's on the census.
Yeah, yeah.
Amerindian is just basically a truncated version of this word, but it's used in anthropological context, and no existing tribe or peoples really say we're Amerindian. They say that they're indigenous, say that they're Native American, et cetera, but Amerindian is not widely used at all. So I think that could be a potential option, but I know people are going to cry about the Indian portion. So there's that.
We could just come up with a whole different word.
So do you have a suggestion for maybe like a whole different?
Actually, to be honest with you, no, I do not. But we could come up with a whole different word.
Wait, so
I did have so, which is probably going to be the stupidest thing that I probably came up with, right? But I do have some sort of suggestion where it could encompass, everything, calling it Natic, Native American, it's NATIC, Natic, you know what I mean? Native American, traditional, something, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I probably came up with. And mind you, that was probably a 3 a.m. Type of idea that just came out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, I gotta write this down. But it's something that we all have to come to the table and actually come up with our own racial classification. That's my main thing. The reason why I say that we have to do it is because most of the time Latino, Hispanic, Latinx, other people came up with it, and we were never sat on the table for these racial classifications. So if we actually get the opportunity to sit down and actually jot down, come up with ideas, brainstorm, put polls out and everything to come up with our own racial classification, I believe that will at least curb some of the confusion. On top of that, give it its own definition for what it is, that it's a proper representation for our people.
Right. No, I agree. And I think like the proper definition, like I think we could literally just copy what's for American Indian, just leave out the community attachment portion. I think that definition is non-controversial, and I think it would work the best, which is just a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and Central and South America. I think that should be the definition. I don't think that's even hard to settle on. But
Native what about brown American? No, let me stop.
What about what did you think about like those other colors, like identifying based on color, like a color like bronze or copper? Like, what did you think about that? Like, does that sound too tacky to you?
No, that was actually a very creative way. I've never thought about that. That's a very creative way. Again, I think the only racial classification that's based on the color is black folks. The race black. That's about it. But
and white people, obviously.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my bad. White folks. Outside of those two, there's no other racial classification that's based on the color. But if we want to go there and say that, yeah, I think we could probably, try to iron out some of the words and classifications. But I think that's a good idea. Brown has been tossed around so much. Maybe we could probably say copper or something like that. Copper is pretty much of a good basis. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the one I favor the most. Like I said,
kind of like that too. Yeah.
For the reasons you've stated, I mean, and like I mentioned, is brown. Yeah, it's been tossed around a lot, and a lot of other groups on the other side of the world say that they're brown already. So, and it's just really, really general. Like, you know, but if we use copper, we could trademark that basically, like for our people solely, and then you know we would just be known as the copper race. And then I mean, so and then people were like, well, what would you just call like the copper race if you're just referring to people? And I was just like, well, you can just call them coppers. I was like, I don't think that's really bad sounding at all. But
well, that kind of that kind of sounded a little. I could probably see a hate crime coming from that one. Like, I don't want them coppers around here. You know what I mean?
That like in Spanish, it also sounds pretty neat because it's called Raza Cobriza. Raza Cobriza. So I think that sounds pretty cool in Spanish as well. Like
Cobriza. Okay.
Right. So like, or I mean, we don't even have to use the English version. I mean, it could just be Cobriza. I mean, if you just wanted to use the Spanish,
or use the native version of it. What's the native version?
Oh, I have no idea, but like that might open a can of worms, man, because they might do like you can't just use one of our languages, bro. So
it opens another can of worms. We got to come up with our own language. You feel me? The copper language, you feel me?
I mean, like, look, I that's the one I've always liked from the start. Like somebody, like one of our subscribers, I forgot who it was.
No lie, I kind of resonate to that word though. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of resonate to that word.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and another thing is like some people, like I think what one person mentioned, well, what if you're like darker skinned, you're not exactly copper, and I was like, you do realize when copper gets oxidized it turns darker, right? So I mean it would still apply to you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess the only thing that thing that
I gotta
might
change
not
my name, the Radical Copper.
We rechange this to Copper Podcast, bro. Copper Podcast.
Oh man.
Let's think about this though, because there's going to be some of our people that are like, well, I do have origins in the original peoples, right? However, and they could be like significantly native, but I've seen this happen where somebody could be 70%, 80% or whatever. That you even have full bloods that have lighter skin and they're more pale. So like, you know, those people, they might just be like, well, I don't like copper because I'm not copper colored. Like what would be the response to that?
Well, I'm glad you said this, and I said this. I actually got some bad feedback from this, but I'm a triple down, and I'm gonna say what I gotta say with my chest. The lighter skin the lighter skin copper folks. I'm gonna say phenotypically they're not white. They just got lighter skin. It is what it is. I believe they still will be on that racial classification as copper, right? That's totally fine. That's all it is. They're just light skin, copper folks. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Phenotypically speaking, they're ethnic. So either way, however you cut the cheese, you know what I'm saying, it's still going to be, ethnic. Now, we have the Telemundos and the Univision of the world who look Anglicized, right? Who are the Anglo-looking Latinos and Hispanics and stuff like that. Those are the ones that I believe they should just stay with their own whiteness. Anglo, that's y'all. You guys are not copper whatsoever. There's no copper in y'all besides the makeup y'all be putting on. That's about it. So that's what I believe. We should have our own distinction and not allow those type of people, because those are the type of people that be giving us a bad rap. But that's the type of separation I believe that we should be having.
Right. And I agree with that. And part of me, I was chuckling because like the way you were saying copper is just like it was already mainstream. And so I was like, bro, it actually sounds right though. Like it doesn't sound bad at all. Like,
I told you, I resonated to that, bro.
So, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, like, if it wouldn't be purely like by skin color. I mean, yes, the copper is the name, but I mean, obviously, if you have those indigenous features, you would still fall under copper anyways.
You got a secret lover over here, bro. Uh-oh.
Let's see. I don't agree with what y'all are saying, but I got to admit, Juan Cholo is so handsome Mexican artist. Thanks.
His Instagram will be down there. You just shoot him a DM.
That's pretty funny. Thank you. Like, hey, dude, like that's what I'm saying. Like one of our subscribers, like on the live chat, it was just another live dude, and he was like, "What about the copper race?" And like when I saw, it, I was like, bro, I was like, yeah,
I resonate. I resonate to that a lot. I really do. I think I don't know why I gravitated to that, but dude, yeah, I think that classification could be a possibility. I'm definitely going to see if we could try to make it a main type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that could be a possibility. I like that. I like that a lot.
Actually, and like this channel, like, I'll re-poll and stuff, but you have a larger channel, a larger audience. How about I send you the definition for copper, right? And then copper, and you do a poll. You tell me I'll look and see what the results are.
Dude, email me, bro.
Yeah, I'll email you copper and then the definition we'll use and pull that, dude. And I want to see what most of your subscribers say because, I mean, if a lot of people are behind copper, I mean, that could be it.
Yeah, we could probably start something. We're going to have to make another petition next to Mexican excellence. You know what I'm saying? So, fault. I didn't mean to name drop. My bad.
Oh, no, that's fine. Mexican excellence she's been on here before, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's fine. No, it's only like haters or like enemies, because then they'll be like, oh my God, they started the war with us. Now we're going to attack them.
Gotcha.
She's an ally.
Gotcha. Yeah, I interviewed her, dude. She is powerful, man. She's a powerful speaker. I like her. How she breaks everything down. She did way more education than I did. You know what I mean? So definitely shout out to her. For those who don't know, she has the Decolonized series. Go definitely check it out. I tune in every other time that I get a chance.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers, man. Like, when I was doing this whole like delving into like what my real identity would be besides just Hispanic, Latino, and like, when I was like, those don't resonate with me, I ran across her and I was like, damn, I was like, this is good content.
Yeah. I learned a lot from her too. Like some of her information inspired some of the podcast episodes that I did.
But yeah, and just to make it clear to those that are viewing, like the people that are very traditional, like have a community, indigenous type of people, they would still just go with American Indian or indigenous or whatever applies in their country. If they're in the U.S., it'd be American Indian. But for people that do not have that have those origins, though, that are that racially speaking by blood, they would go with Cobriza / copper. That I'm going to make that clarification clear.
Yeah.
So people that are like traditionally indigenous, you don't have to put copper or Cobriza. Like you have your own thing. You have your American Indian, so that works.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of digging that whole copper thing, bro. I'm digging it.
Here are my two little points I wanted to bring out. Brad, and I don't want to like talk back like we talked about this like 50 minutes ago. You talked about the 1774 Act, I think. Could you maybe? You remember you brought that up a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I just said it just to, I set a date just to, I wasn't really talking about that act in particular, but I was just making a reference to just an act.
Sure. Sorry. I thought you were actually talking about something real. I was like, wait, hold on, that's something I don't know. Okay, then now fast forward to what we're talking about now. I think we also like have to remember that, I mean, there are natives out there, like those from tribes that do recognize us as native as well. So, but I understand that, we're experimenting with copper too. Who was it? Lakota guy that, Jesus is native. So I think, but again, like, does anyone know anyone in the census that works for the Census Bureau that can get copper on there?
Well, see, that'd be the next step is like, I mean, I want to see what radicals polls would look like. And maybe if we could get Mexican Excellence to poll and just a bunch of variety of people to poll this. And then just the next step would be what would be the process to getting in contact with the right folks on the census or maybe the representatives, lobby the representatives, right? Send that, do the phone calls, send the letters to lobby for this new category. We could always figure that out and do the work as we go along.
I believe this is for what I've did the research, because after I don't know if you want to go into the topic now about the petition, but I believe that once you get 1,000 signatures, I believe that's when you send it to like a local representative, and that's when they'll start doing the paperwork and you do the follow-up into actually getting that a petition from that representative actually enacted into something. So that's what I researched. I could probably be wrong on some of the red tape that we might face, but I'm actually down to actually work with something like that, because that's something that we need enacted. Again, like I said, Latin people, we are in a gray area. A lot of people go with the whole white thing, with majority of us are not. Go with the black, go with the native, and that's cool and everything, but there's a lot of us that are falling in between, and we're being confused and lost in the sauce. So if we come with our own classification that actually embodies both black, native, and everything in between, I think that that's something that we will be positively falling under.
Right. And like that, see, because Mexican Excellence, Citlali mentioned this when we were talking about possibly a new racial category, because she was even open to this, right, when I talked to her, right, a couple of days ago. And she was like, well, this could help for people that they're just don't feel comfortable like saying, oh, I'm like native racially or any of that. Like, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't, right? Or people that that's just not going to interest them, or even reconnecting or whatever. I mean, I would hope a lot of people would want to do that, but not everyone will, right? I mean, that's just to be frank with you, a lot of people don't. Honestly, they just don't care about their ancestry. That's fine. That's valid.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So that's where like this would be really useful for, I mean, that way they can get away with the Eurocentric terms like Hispanic, Latino, and like, like I don't even like mestizo because it just means half breed and it's just like caste system type thing. So I don't even like that.
Mulatto, mestizo, the same thing.
It's the same thing. So, but copper, I mean, it just has a positive upbeat connotation to it. So it's like that, I mean, and that would be a major improvement as to what we really are.
Exactly. The thing is, we are the only group that has two categories in the census, an ethnic category and a racial category. We're the only ones. Everybody else, they just go straight to the whole race thing. The thing is that, there's a lot of other ethnicities with other cultures. How come we're the only ones with our own? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any type of sense. That causes confusion once again. So I believe, like you said, like I agree with her 100%. Of the ones who don't feel like they fall under the native category will go with the whole, copper category and something that they feel comfortable with. Whoever falls in between, and I actually do agree to that, and I'll be for it.
Marcus, like you've been awfully quiet here. What do you think about copper, man? Like, what's your honest opinion here? Give it to us straight. Like, even if you disagree, like we want to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just listening, letting you guys go back and forth. I didn't want to interrupt, so I was getting good. You're getting people to view the video, so I was like, well, maybe if I shut up, more people will get on and watch.
More people laugh if you say Jose Vasconcelos, bro.
Not now. No. The serious talk.
All right.
So my thoughts, I don't know, because we've gotten natives on here that, again, from reservations that do see us as native. Now, if we're talking about the census, maybe it's a whole different ball game. But I think that maybe they might be in favor for us to say that we are like, native or indigenous, but we haven't really discussed this whole copper thing with them. This is like the first time ever bringing it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we've toyed about it before in a live before this, and we've done the polls, but we haven't had.
I think this is the real time. I think we might be having a real turning of the gears with this type of category, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I still don't think it takes away anything though, Marcus, because I mean, it's just kind of more like a middle ground compromise. But I mean, it's still also meant for a lot of people that just won't. I mean, they're just not going to identify as native anyways. So I mean, wouldn't you want to see a category for those people? Which there's a lot of people that just wouldn't. I think.
Yeah, I believe it's a good middle ground.
I mean, just in general, and it'd be like a really, really good thing. Right, for people to just move away from Latino and Hispanic, and if eventually if they feel comfortable enough to do American Indian, Native American, they can move to that too, right? There's nothing barring from that, but copper, I mean, I think would be good for people that are just more general with their life or with their when
Sure.
they're thinking about like their ancestry or any of that. They're just going to be like, okay, well, that makes sense.
That makes sense. And it would like take us away from the colonial labels as well. And I think this would be a good transition probably into the current petition that Lolly is pushing for.
Right, because Lolly, I mean, she left that kind of also open to this radical, if you notice, because she was saying alternatives could be like Native people, brown people, etc. I mean, you could simply edit the brown people to copper people.
I signed that petition like 2 times already, and I already sent it to a couple of people. I don't know if you saw my poll. I put it on YouTube, on Instagram. I'm like, this is a good thing. Definitely go support it, because that for those who don't know, there's a petition right now going out to stop the label of Hispanic, Latino, and Latinx to be used in the media. Also, for us to stop using that as well, and I think it's a positive thing, because these again, like Marcus said, these are colonial type of terms. When you are a conquered people, you start getting these labels put on you without your say so, and you're gonna have to run with it. If we weren't conquered, we would not be having these type of discussions to say, hey, maybe once we do this classification could be actually enacted. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that now. The whole Hispanic, Latin, that I don't agree with none of that, especially the new one, Latinx and Latin A. Again, I'm not trying to take it away from the LGBT Latin people who do identify with Latinx. Shout out to y'all. That's cool. I'm not taking that away from y'all. Maybe y'all could be Copper X. Who knows? The thing is that the thing is, Latinx is not the whole community. This is something that we have to understand. And the fact that these politicians and media labels go out and put in this blanket term into Latinx for the whole Latin community is disrespectful. It shows that they don't know the community. It shows that this is trendy and they're going to go along with it. And in reality, this Latinx label, or should I say Copper X? Yeah, Copper. This whole Latinx label is only representative for less than 2% of the population of Latin people. That's all it is. So labeling the whole community Latinx is a slap in the face to us, and we should be calling these people out, saying that you're just pandering to us, and we should not be nobody that you're going to be pandering to.
So much pandering. Oh my God, yeah. Like the Latinx, and I know people, of the LGBTQ community that are for ending Latinx as well. Like they think it's silly. So that are native. So it's just a term that I think that a certain political side has decided to embrace, and you see it more and more, especially in the college world and the media. You just see everyone, like celebrities use it now. It's became more popular with them, but we are here to put it to an end. We're trying to. And, I think most people here agree with it, or else we wouldn't be on here.
I remember I made an episode talking about how we shouldn't use Latinx, and I broke it down. I got into some little comedic take or whatever, but I pretty much broke it down. And I was pretty much, against it for the whole community, but not against it for the right people who identify with it, right? The thing is, I had some CUNY liberal people. I followed you, and I thought that you were this person, and now you're showing your true colors. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you getting mad at me? I'm just giving my opinion on this. And on top of that, it kind of shows that you're just gonna go along with anything that is with your agenda. You know what I mean? And you don't question it. That's very huge and telling. You should start questioning certain things that your side is putting out. You shouldn't just you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be a sheep to a certain political side. So that's I said that and then I got blocked. But the whole point is that it shows that everything that this certain side that you're in puts out, you shouldn't just be eating it up. Don't go the Jim Jones route and drink the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Actually question what's really going. Is this going to be beneficial for me and my community? Is this going to be beneficial for my community 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? If the answer is no, then why are you supporting it and defending it when people going out against it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean exactly. Like, just gotta wake more people up, man, and they'll get the picture eventually. Some are really freaking stubborn and still want to continue on with it, like
and
these labels.
mind you, copper is is gender neutral. So maybe I don't know.
Yeah, there's not even a need for the X, bro. Like,
you know what I'm saying? So it's gender neutral. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's a way to sway certain people in. You know?
Right? Yeah. It's like copper's the metal, bro. It don't have a gender.
Exactly. It's gender neutral. So you see, this is a good idea. You know, we should start embracing copper. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, dude, I'm glad you like it, man. I mean, like at least let's put it out, man. Like, I'm interested to see what you poll as. I'm gonna tell to Lolly, hey, put a poll out. I'm just curious to see, because again, even if a lot of us are just going to continue to identify as natives racially, like, there's still a huge segment of the population that copper might just resonate them way more with them, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I put this poll out, right, just on the live chat, and I said copper, yes or no. 66% of people, there's only 35 votes in, right? 66% said yes, 34% said no, but it's still a clear majority that are saying yes to that, right?
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'll again, send me the email, give me the definitions. I'll put it out and see what's up.
That sounds good to me. There was a couple of people commenting in the live chat, like, they were saying, "What about bronze? What do you think about bronze?" I think that sounds good too.
Bronze is good. Bronze is good, but bronze. Isn't bronze is good, but doesn't that, like, in the Olympics, don't you get like bronze for like last place? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, bro. Like,
I don't know.
I mean, we could put it out in the poll you put out. We could just put those two side by side if you want, and we'd just be like, well, which one would you guys like? The same definition for both, right? But which one do you guys prefer? Bronze, copper? I think copper's really new, and it's really unique. Especially in Spanish, it sounds really good. That's what people keep saying in live chat, like Cobriza. So I like that. Plus, I think copper has more of a range of colors than bronze does. True. Bronze is like one fixed color, whereas copper can have a range. That's why it's just like, maybe that's superior. In my opinion.
That's true. That is true. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I resonate more to copper than to bronze.
I agree with you. That's my view.
I don't know why. It just does. Oh, Marcus, you're laughing over there. What's going on? Let us know.
I was messing with his commenter. I think he wanted us to highlight his last post in the comment section. I just highlighted his current one where he said, I highlighted his comment that said highlight my last post instead of going further back and like find the post, because there's so many freaking comments, so I can't find it. So whatever he wanted to say, he can post it again, but like I highlighted his comment that asked.
Some people are saying red might be one.
Yeah, the only problem I see with red that people have brought up is that red has been used in like racist terms against natives, and they I don't know if like the northern natives might be like adverse to us like using what they probably consider to be their color term for better or for worse.
Yeah. I'm good. I'd rather not. No, I don't know, but copper really resonates with me.
I mean, there's no objection to copper besides, I just don't like it. I mean, there's no political objection to it, to be honest.
That's true. If this goes on, I swear to God, I'm changing the name to the Radical Copper. I swear to God. Copper Gang. You feel me?
Yeah.
Then get a bunch of T-shirts with pennies and stuff on it. You know,
that'd be funny, man.
Should we lie in the ladder for any as in the live stream link for anyone that wants to jump on the ship here?
Ooh, uh-oh.
Maybe MX is in there.
Oh my god, bro.
Uh-oh.
I mean, like if Radical feels comfortable, I mean that's fine.
Listen, I am trolls are out here, you know what I mean?
All right, so like you guys are gonna laugh, but I'm gonna run the restroom real quick. So I'm not abandoning you, Marcus, but you know.
For Rob 101, I'm gonna say I'm more copper than darker skin, I'm gonna say. I don't know. Some of y'all, I don't know what. Some of y'all saw how I look like. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, definitely going through some comments here. Right.
Yeah, go to, where do you think the Red Power movement came from? Us red people. I don't know about that one. American includes Mexican, Central American people, children, the corn. That's
we put the stream on for anyone that wants to hop on. So.
Yeah. For this whole time that we've been talking, any disagreements, anything that you guys want to add into the mix, any copper Americans that want to come up and let us know, let us know your point of thoughts in this conversation, please feel granted to come in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, come on over. And
Copper X. The thing with the brown farm movement with the brown. Okay.
Someone say you're medium to dark brown.
Yeah.
Nice, man. But
yeah.
I think we'll get into the transition into the Hispanistas completely.
Okay.
And just like maybe just talk about like your history with them and just like overall like being on other lives, because I saw what's the longest live you've been on, man? Like I thought you were one that was on for like 10 hours or something.
Yeah, I went on. I think I was on with I don't know if yeah, I was on the live on a female Dominican's channel. I don't know if you want me to say her name, but
she's cool. I like her.
Oh, okay. So I was in like Tina's channel. Shout out to Tina. You know what I mean? I was in one of hers. She was like 10 hours, and I think I would say like 15 minutes that I got into it. I went in there. I got into like 3 debates. So I've gone into some long streams, but I don't, again, because of
sure.
view count and keeping people's retention rate. I definitely like to keep my live streams like 2 hours or less. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy like that. But I know hers been going on for like 10 hours.
Yeah. Hello.
We got 2 people on here, Pocho.
What's going on?
Yo, hold on. Let me put on my mic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Are these your friends, Red?
I know Pocho. I think the other one is trying to hide his voice.
No, I'm a Hispanista.
Yo, what's up?
Wait, you dude? Come on, you trying to hide your voice, bro? Come on.
No, I'm not. Why?
You're not, bro. Come on, it's so obvious. What's up, bro?
Anyways, yeah, I'm a Hispanista, and I mean, I respect the Indigenous movement. You know, I mean, I respect you guys. I mean, I actually support you guys, and I feel like
Chichi, it's so obvious, dude.
So different Latinos should go.
Wait. Before we continue, I just want to say something. About the whole Raza Cobriza thing. That's actually me, Juan Solora, who actually recommended the comment
I can't hear him.
From your other live stream.
Yo, Pocho, we can't hear you, bro.
You got to fix your volume.
You hear me now? Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. So Chichi, what's up, bro?
The Hispanista who's going to talk?
Oh, yeah. So, as I was saying, I feel like different Latinos should go in their own way. So, if I guess you guys are the indigenous, right? The Indigenistas. So what you guys want to do, reclaim your land, maybe protest for, money for your communities to fix it. I support that, and also support more European Latinos getting their own land, and even more Afro Latinos getting their own land. So I mean, I support everything, but me personally, since I fall on the more European side, I guess I have to side with European Latinos.
Okay, so you have a more position full of respect for the differences. Like you're not trying to get everybody to just go with the European side. You think we should all go our separate ways if with that whatever we decide.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's respectable. I mean, there's what can I debate about that? I mean, I agree.
We appreciate you respecting what we have to say, though.
Yeah, definitely.
We got two others that want to come in, so we're gonna let these two folks.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. So I just want to say real quick before we go into like any conversation, I was actually the one that recommended the term copper cobriza.
Oh, you're marksman?
What?
Oh, you're marksman? You're the user marksman?
No. I'm the person that told you in the comment section about Antoro Humela.
Oh, okay. I thought it was marksman that suggested that in the live. But okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically this term is nothing new. It actually comes from an indigenous nationalist. He goes by the name of Antaoro Umela, and he's somewhat of a Marxist, not really though. He's kind of like somewhat Marxist, somewhat. Oh shit.
This is what they do. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Antaoro Umela is from Peru, and obviously Peru has a ginormous indigenous population. He's actually the one that created the term La Raza Cobriza in his book Etnocarcerismo, Izquierda y Globalidad, which is a book where he advocates for like indigenous separatism in South America. And this goes back years ago. Like he wrote that book back in 2005. So the term copper for our people, for like a unification between the indigenous and the mestizo population, actually goes like years back,
Right. Oh, okay, now you've jogged my memory. I remember you left that comment. I remember in a live, there's a guy named Marksman that just kind of threw copper out, but you're the one that left a comment about the specific book with an indigenous scholar, basically, that coined it, right? I do want to read it myself, which I can find it online, right? Just to read it. It'll be in Spanish. But
it'll be in Spanish. There are no English translations. And trust me, I can't really read Spanish that well, but I've been practicing. But I definitely have tried my hardest to look for an English version of that book, and I can't find it anywhere. So if you're down with reading Spanish, then you're definitely going to enjoy that book.
Right. No, I know how to read it. I read a little slower than English, but I mean, I could definitely understand it. So I'll be looking it up to read. But I thank you for coming on here and explaining that to the viewers, man.
Absolutely.
So I was going to ask, like, are you on board though? Like with copper, what do you think about copper?
I think it's a perfect term. I mean, it's like what you said early on in the live stream. Copper there's all types of different shades of copper. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one specific color, right? So you could have light copper, which is kind of like your complexion or a little bit of Marquise's complexion. You have obviously a more reddish color with copper, a more reddish shade, I guess you could say. And it's really a perfect blend. It's a perfect way where you can merge mestizos or so-called mestizo people with indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? Because the color of most mestizo people would be copper. It would be a brownish, reddish color. And same goes for indigenous people. So it's kind of like a blend between two people forming one body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, like in terms of the skin tone, definitely. And I just think it sounds really upbeat and positive. That's another reason why I favor it a lot. Like it just sounds cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about how cool the term, sound. It's like you read Jose Vasconcelos' book La Raza Cósmica, right? And he outlines obviously his Eurocentric, viewpoints and perspectives of a lot of things from Latin America, right? La Raza Cósmica. Well, our version of that to counteract La Raza Cósmica would be La Raza Cobriza. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the fact that you say an indigenous scholar already has coined this, I mean, this would work perfectly, honestly. So, yeah, I definitely want to read.
Just look up his name, Antauro Umela. He's a political prisoner in Peru, but because of the recent election of Pedro Castillo, I don't know if you heard of him, but Pedro Castillo has promised to release him from prison. And if he's released from prison, he does plan to run for the presidency of Peru in 2026. So we could see a big uprising of a grassroots indigenous movement.
Also, I was going to ask, could you do us the favor? I know you did in the last video. I'm going to go back to your comment, but for anybody else that might be interested in reading this, could you drop that in the comment for this video once it's actually posted again?
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
And we'll probably pin it. Go ahead, the other two guests. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think I lean more on the Raza Cósmica, what this guy's talking about, how, like, I would say, I'm not sure about genetics, but and maybe in Mexico, they're not Spanish and they're not native, so they're a new identity, to be honest. They're not Spanish and a lot are not like native. It's a mix of cultures, and like I disagree with Hispanistas because they lean more on like Spain. But I also disagree with at least people who are like primarily European descent, like maybe 60%. They should just like say, "Oh, well, I'm both," instead of one. To be honest.
Well, see, like the thing is, that's just kind of a foreign concept here in the United States because other races that are mixed like that don't do it. They typically want to go with one. They always make a choice, and that's the angle we're going it from here because we were raised here in the United States. That's just how we think. So that's why we disagree.
Where are you from, Hes?
Yeah, did you grow up in the United States or somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm from the U.S. and I used to view it like that too because Obama, like most people see him, they'll say he's black, right? But his mom is white. But that's because we grew up in the United States and it has a certain way if you use race, right? Like the one drop rule and everything. But like in Latin America more, it's like, oh well, like Obama does look black, but like that's more of a United States view. Like if I was Obama, right? Let's say I was a mulatto, right? And I had one white mom and a black dad. Like I'm not gonna say I'm black. I would say I'm mixed.
Yeah, but society is gonna see you as black. Nobody outside of the United States looked at Obama and said that he was white.
Or even half white. Like, let's be honest. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all got used to the term black president.
Exactly. And I was going to point out, like, on average, black people in the United States are not 100% black. They are on average 1/4 white, and yet nobody questions this. Nobody calls them mixed here.
I think 97% of Black Americans have the least is, I think, was it 10% white DNA, and the most is, I think, was it 50 or whatever the case is. But the whole point is the majority of Black Americans are not 100% black.
No, far from it. They're at least a quarter European. So again, like, I don't think you need to be going for racial purity here for racial identity. I mean, if you want to identify as both, fine. But I mean, most people don't want to do that in the United States.
Yeah, because that's when we'll start going into the whole thing is what constitutes somebody as being mixed. Literally, if we're going to talk about what constitutes somebody as being mixed, is having 0.001% of something else. Technically, you're mixed. So, but the thing is that you're not going to be socially viewed that way. You're going to be socially viewed one way, which i.e. Obama, you know?
Yeah.
Yo, but I would say to that though is I wouldn't say, like, for example, if I was half black, half white, and yeah, I agree, people do see people like that. No, they're just black, right? But I would say the world in general needs to change that sort of one drop rule mentality and change. It shouldn't be like those people should conform to the current social racial status like today in present day America, to be honest.
Yeah, so listen, bro, I get that you're one of those Hispanistas who don't want to adopt the Anglo view or whatever, but you need to understand that, first of all, we're in America, and there is a system that exists in this country that influences the entire Western Hemisphere, and that is white supremacy, right? So people that are victims of this type of marginalization, we need to all unify with each other under a single term, under a banner. And that's what Black people, for example, have so successfully been able to do in this country. That's why they all identify as Black. They're very ethnocentric. They all know what their shared experiences are, and they know what they are and what their place is in America. We need to do the same thing too.
You're right on point, and that's what I've always mentioned before and told Marcus is like I admire that unity that the Black community has here in the United States. Imagine how big of an epic failure the civil rights movement would have been if there would have been all these divisions of, oh, well, you're mulatto and you're like this other Lobo thing or what. Like, dude, they would have never gotten anything done doing all that ridiculous nonsense. Like the fact that they identified as one thing is what gave them that power.
Not only that, but the whole one drop rule thing is kind of like, even in the United States, even in the history of this country, it's pretty much a meme. And the reason why it's a meme is because that was only applied in very rural areas of the South, not even the North. Mind you, the North also practiced Jim Crow too, where they would discriminate against Black people based on their race. And nobody truly believed in this whole one drop rule thing. So enough with the racial purity, enough with that rhetoric, enough with that stagnation. We need to leave that behind us and unite under a banner.
Right, and I mean that's why I favor this Raza Cobriza or Copper. I think it would work as a banner.
Absolutely.
Oh shit!
Yo, these people.
Oh, dang it!
Dude, he came in with the colonial flag of Spain. That's how I was like, dude, I recognize that shit from Age of Empires 3, motherfucker. You ain't gonna fool us.
Funny. That's funny. I'm telling you, these people, they live rent free in my brain, man.
Bro, you attract these people, like, please, bro.
Ralph, explain who you are,
dude.
please.
Radical, they love you, bro. They love running after your ass, dude.
Ralph, you want to say who you are, please? Or I'm going to have to remove
I'm sorry,
you,
I
man.
didn't know it was on. My bad.
You're good.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm
You guys
kind of
hear
like,
me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
You're
my
good.
bad.
I didn't mean to sound so like.
I'm driving right now, so.
You're good, Ralph. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound a
How
little
long was I on
mad.
there
I just
for?
didn't want. How long? What?
Yeah, you're
Just
good.
barely.
I was wondering how long was I on there? Just being silent. Was that just like for
A couple of
a good
seconds.
5 minutes?
Yeah,
or
just a couple
something, or what?
seconds. Yeah, just a couple seconds, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, you're good, Ralph. I was just like
Oh, you want me
after
to
the
say
other.
something?
I gotta.
I can. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying
Hey,
like I
oh,
gotta
no,
do
I
some
was
editing.
gonna.
Yeah, don't be afraid to speak up, bro. It's fine. It's fine. It's just
Ralph,
us.
say what you gotta say, bro.
Oh, I do. I just feel like there's like a bit of a lag input. Like I'm getting you guys on a weird feed. That's not a feed, but like I feel like when you guys like, I feel like we're interrupting each other. I feel like I'm like a bit back. I'm not too sure, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I guess my
Well, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. But yeah, with the whole input of like trying to like my issue is that we're trying to correct me if I'm wrong, but we're trying to figure out a better, quote unquote, better identification to, I guess classify or ID who we are, right? But here's the issue with that. It's like my issue is like when I said we, but like who am I speaking for? Like am I like you understand what I'm saying? Like I know this is like the name of this channel is Indigenous podcast, right? It's not like the Latino podcast or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm assuming this is just based off my assumption that everyone here is somewhat part of the quote unquote what they call as the Latin community or Latin people, right?
Let me ask you something.
So,
are you that guy?
based off that,
Are you? Yeah. Let me just ask you. Your voice sounds very familiar. You're the guy that I talked with on Instagram. The guy that runs that Indigenous Telegram group.
No, that's not me. Who's that?
Oh, okay. No, I was just wondering. Carry on.
God damn, do I have a distinct voice? Fucking Christ. No, yeah. So my point is, like, from what I assume, we're specifically talking about people who are mixed with some portion of indigenous bloodline, right? Whether it's a different demographic, a person from Cuba or a person from the Dominican Republic or Peru or Bolivia or Mexico, right? I feel like we can't when we keep saying we. My issue is like, why you keep saying we? Like who's we? Like be more specific. Are you talking? And I know, and that's what's my issue with the beginning of the whole Latin thing. Like you're generalizing like so much, like so many different. How many countries are there in Latin America? What? You give me a number, an estimate. What? Like maybe let's just say 15, 20.
A million.
And within those
A
15
million.
or 20 nations, a million. Okay. No, countries. I say countries.
Yeah, a million. Just
Yeah.
put a million. It
Specific
doesn't
countries
matter.
like
Go
Mexico.
ahead.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
whatever. Within those millions, there's a diverse demographic. It's like what I was mentioning in the comments earlier, that it's so ridiculous trying to generalize the whole bunch of countries. It's like saying all of Asia, and I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't India considered Asia, like Asian, right? West Asian. But you're saying like, oh, they're Asian. That includes India, China, Korea. Even maybe to a point, it extends to what, Malaysia.
So if I hear
maybe
you
the
correctly,
Philippines. I know they have an issue with that.
if I hear you correctly, are you saying that you have a problem with us collectivizing each other? Like, is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know what you guys are saying. That's what I'm trying to be like. I don't know. That's my issue. I guess my first issue is who you're speaking for. Like, who's we that we need to identify as copper? We need to identify as native. Now, when
We're talking about people who have origins from the So let me answer that. We're talking about people who have their origins from the indigenous people of this continent.
Who wish to reconnect as well.
Now,
Yes. Who wish to reconnect, yes.
Okay. Now, let me understand this. Are you guys aware, or maybe I'm wrong here, but not everyone within, let's say, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, they're not all mixed necessarily, right? But everyone likes to think that we're all mixed.
Right. I mean, no, they're not all mixed, and people also forget, and I brought this up, that if you have two mixed people and the genetics go right whenever they have a kid, that kid could be full-blooded native or whatever else, whatever other race. So yeah, not everybody is mixed. Yeah, we're aware of that.
Yeah, I want to say this is kind of going.
Like that's.
Yeah, go ahead, Hans.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I just needed to say something, because like with the black people, this is kind of going back, but like they all collectivize under one label, and I would say there already is a label for predominantly for like people of native descent that come, like, oh, they're usually Hispanic. I think that word is already a solid word. And also you also group in people who are like triracial, like from the Caribbean, like native, Taino, black, and white. But like, if we're going to go through this like you have to be native only, then I would say you're excluding more people if you started like to do this.
We never said that you had to be native only. Like whatever mixture, but with native, because the definition would be having origins in the original peoples. That applies to a lot of people, and that's why they look phenotypically copper, right, in terms of color. So that's what we're talking about. And Hispano, I don't like Hispano because it's really Eurocentric. So that's why we're trying to move away from Hispano.
Are you gonna say Red?
Yeah,
and that's the reason. And that's the reason why we. That's the reason why we're talking about another label that fits in between called copper. You know, so that's what we were talking about.
I mean, because copper, you can disagree with copper, but I mean, it's going to serve as a major improvement to Hispano Latino, and like these labels already exist. So why not have a label that's going to be positive and work better for everybody? Like, and I get your point that you're saying, oh yeah, you're homogenizing a lot of people from different countries. It's like, yeah, they're already homogenized with all these other racial categories. It is what it is. So I mean,
like Middle Eastern, Asian. You know what I'm saying?
But you guys have a racial worldview. That's my problem.
They're right, you know what I mean?
All right, wait, hold on. I actually know what Hans is talking about. Hans,
wait.
The reason.
Wait. Hold on. Let me ask Hans something. Hans.
Okay.
Every person has a racial worldview.
Not necessarily, because mestizos are a mix of both. They don't say I'm white, and they generally don't say I'm native.
Mix of what?
Mestizo itself is a racial classification.
Pocho, hold on. Hans, mix of what?
Spanish and native.
Spanish is not a race. That's a language. It's mix of what?
Oh, I mean white, I guess.
That's a race. So there we go. Racial views. So the point is that we're trying to, since we live in a world which we see racial views, and everything is in the racial view. Once we see that, we're just trying to get away from that by putting our own definition out there. That's all we're doing. That's all it is. So once we put our definition out there of our own classification of a racial view, don't you think that's a little inspiring?
Well, I can agree with with changing it, but yeah. One last thing is here's how I see it. Like I'm mixed. I'm probably like 60-70% like Spanish. I'm not too sure, but I am mixed with native. And I don't say I'm white or black. And I heard before, I mean white or native. And I heard before that somebody wants to identify like as native. Well, I would disagree with that, same as I would disagree with someone who wants to identify as a Spanish or white. I would say no, we're not either. We're a mix of both, and we shouldn't try to.
Can I ask you something?
Racial worldviews. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right. So then, why do you use the term mestizo?
Because we're mixed.
But I think
mestizo itself is a racial classification.
Well, we're mixed race.
Yeah, so you don't call yourself mixed race. No, you say mestizo, right? It's supposed to be separate from mixed race.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is the reason why...
Technically, mulatto is supposed to be its own race, right? Mestizo is supposed to be its own race. So
right, because under the caste system definition, I don't know if you guys are aware, but mestizo literally means half Native American, half white. That's what mestizo means under the Spanish caste.
You're using a racial... You're going basically against your own argument. You're using the racial view.
Yeah,
technically,
exactly
if you're 70% European and by the Spanish caste system standards, you wouldn't even be mestizo. You'd be something else. It'd probably be like castes or whatever.
No, I know what I'm saying is that
Marcus,
I agree there's a racial.
Block this person. Go ahead.
Yo, I was saying I agree. I understand what you guys are saying, but my whole point is we shouldn't identify with one or the other. We should be both, right? Like we shouldn't identify as native or Spanish. We just say, oh, well, we're mestizo, or we're not either. Like I'm not gonna say I'm white or native.
Well, that's what we're saying. We are identifying with both, but we're not using mulatto. We're not using mestizo. We're coming up with our own classification.
Right, and some people have moral qualms with just going with Spanish. Like, for example, I did the work and I joined with my indigenous tribe in San Luis Potosí. The Spanish committed genocide against my people, so why would I identify with my Spanish side? It's morally reprehensible for me to do so, given the circumstances.
Yeah, but natives as well genocided each other, and I mean, both were bad, right? Like, I'm not saying the Spanish were good or anything, but I'm saying is, I'm not gonna put my native side on a pedestal, and I'm not gonna put the Spanish side on a pedestal either, right?
Right. That's your view, bro. Like you can do whatever you like, but plenty of us don't want to do that. We don't care.
Trust me, bro. Hey, listen, trust me, Hans, or whatever her name is. The natives had much more in common with each other than they would ever have with a fucking Spanish person. You know what I'm saying? All right. Those natives that were killing each other, if they knew what would happen to their entire race if they allied with the Spanish and if they let them in their land and all that, I'm pretty sure, I will bet money that they would have all allied against the Spanish.
Well, plus,
Well, I
like
mean-
you like, yeah, natives kill each other, but genocide is a stretch. Like, genocide involves literally trying to wipe out an entire group of people, like, off the face of the planet. Like, I don't think indigenous people did that. They fought
enslaved
wars.
them.
They fought wars, and yeah, that's not genocide though. You're not aware of the definition you're using here for genocide.
Well,
Genocide is very specific.
I mean, at least I know the Aztecs would go around and they would like culturally genocide others and make
Marcus,
them
I wrote you
follow their
something in the private
culture.
chat.
Not really, because they actually adopted a lot of the gods from a lot of their enemies into their own city states.
Yeah, I mean, after they conquer them and like sack their entire cities.
Well, sure, after they conquered them, but when you say erase cultures, they didn't necessarily do that because a lot of the gods that the Tlaxcaltecas, for example, believed in are the same gods that the Mexica believed in. Like, they all
that's
worship
like,
Quetzalcoatl, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I see what you're saying. But and I actually tend to agree. Sure, other natives were more in common than Spanish people. But like what I'm trying to say is like when the Spanish got here, it wasn't like the natives were all one big happy family. Like a lot of white nationalists try to do this too. That the white people in Europe are all one big happy family.
Yeah, but no one's saying
they're
that.
not.
I mean,
No one's saying that.
no one's saying that they were one big happy family, but I'm just saying like that what the Spanish did, and they were just utter and complete bastards. So I mean, why identify with them? They were foreign to this land anyway. So I'd rather go with the native side than I ever go with the Spanish. It just makes no sense to me.
Why not go with both instead of
no,
just
because I
one?
don't want to. It's because they committed genocide against my people and they were bastards to us. Why would I want to do that?
I mean, I probably
I understand you're 70% Spanish. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But other people don't want to do that.
But the thing is that most Hispanics in general, they don't see themselves as white or mixed. They just say, well, I'm mestizo or Hispanic. And you guys are trying to put this like native worldview in their heads.
And why is that? Because they are educated with those types of thoughts. Because of Jose Vasconcelos, at least in Mexico, was Minister of the Education. So he put his own racist views with the caste system and all that. It's because they're educated that way. That's why they think that way.
Well, and I agree with him, though, because he wanted a homogeneous, because before in the 1800s, Mexico, they had like 40% native, right? And a lot of them didn't even speak Spanish or they were bilingual. And then if you look at now, it's like a more 90, like majority mixed, like 50-50, right? It's because
and that's exactly our point, sir. And that's exactly our point. The mestizos were a small percentage of the population, and Vasconcelos didn't want them identifying with their native side. He wanted them to adopt a Spanish-centric culture. So he was like, you know what? You're mixed. Don't this is a new world, right? Do not adopt the Spanish. I'm sorry, not the Spanish culture. The indigenous cultures. Don't identify with them. Identify with us. You speak Spanish. You're really a part of our big family.
And they're not as mixed as you think. I mean, if you go read Mexico Profundo by the anthropologist, he breaks down the math about how it's impossible for there to have been as many mixture as you guys claim in Mexico. It's not really the case. I mean, people would just, on paper, they were made to appear like they're mestizos because suddenly you had all these indigenous people. And then like within a couple of generations, they're all mestizos. That makes no sense. It's because of loss of culture, not because they're racially, a bunch of them are mixed. Not to mention, you have mixed people. You do realize that you produce people that are full-blooded. You pass on certain, 50% DNA from each parent can make people that are full-blooded. They don't stay mixed forever just because they got mixed once.
I actually heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Juan Chalola, but I actually heard that during the colonial times of Mexico, right, it was only the upper class who would intermix, not even like your everyday person.
I mean, yeah, and there's validity to that. I mean, I have Spaniards lines that I've traced with my genealogy, and you know what happens with a lot of those Spaniards line? They just married other Spaniards for forever, and then it took until like literally the late 1800s when they started like maybe mixing with somebody that was a different race. That's what I've noticed in a lot with my Spaniards line. They maintain that Spaniard purity a lot in those Spanish lines. So they started mixing immediately 1500s when they got here. It's like no, a lot of them didn't want to do that. I mean, it happened, right? And there was rape and stuff like that. And then maybe there could have been some love unions, but it was rare. A lot of them wanted to maintain that pure white line. So they did that.
Nah, man, there was no rape, bro. The Spanish were so handsome that the native women just fell to their knees, right? You got the Latin lovers right there.
Well, most mixing though it happened after the Spanish. They got kicked out. If you look at the demographics, and even if you say like culturally, right? I agree with like if you look at Mexico today, it's mainly mixed, but they have parts of like their native, like they have like they call themselves like Aztec or something. Like I've seen this before in their government. I think one president like in the 30s and 40s, he wanted to move away from the Spanish side of history because he was like against them, but he like he's not Mexico, they're not saying they're natives or like they're culturally both, they're their own thing. And yeah, again, I mean,
homie, things are changing, bro. Listen, you have to understand, man, that cultures, nations, everything that you consider to be tradition, whatever, that's all going to change, man. Cultures have always changed throughout the history of humankind. You know what I'm saying? So believe me, you're seeing a lot of people from Mexico that are starting to identify more with their indigenous side and less with this Spanish-centric ideology.
I disagree, and that's a good point, though. You said culture and traditions are always changing. I 100% agree. And I don't think Mexicans or Latin Americans, Hispanics in general, they shouldn't, that's always changing. So they shouldn't cling to their native side when culture and tradition is always changing. Just the same with Spanish.
I mean, that's like saying like black people can't be black people because their culture is mostly English, bro. But yet they're still black people. So that's really irrelevant. Culture is not really a necessity for your like racial identity. You can still go with that regardless of culture, in my opinion.
And on top of that, how weird would it seem just because black folks were enslaved by Britain, now they're going to call themselves Britain? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense.
Well, the thing about Black Americans is a lot of their culture was erased, right? And they have their own thing, right? They're still black.
Wait. Black Americans' culture was erased. Are you saying that our culture wasn't erased?
No, I'm saying both. Yeah, it happened. Like a lot of areas, the Spanish try to like forcefully assimilate them, right? I'm not even denying that.
Exactly.
But I'm saying what I'm saying is the Black Americans, they're black, right? They have their own culture from other Americans, but they're not Africans culturally or anything like that. And when you see people like that try to claim Africa, it's like, why? You're not African. And I would say the same with mestizos. Like, you're not native, you're not Spanish either. You have your own culture, and it's not either.
I don't think black people, like from America, obviously, I don't think they're saying that they're African. I think they say they're African American. They're of African extraction, but they're here. They have a completely different experience. They're not saying that they are the same as an African person from Nigeria or Ghana. That's not what they claim. They understand that they're part of that racial group and they have a colonial experience. So that's what we're doing. We understand that we have a colonial experience where we were marginalized and oppressed because of our skin color and ultimately because of racial classification. So that's why we identify with more racial terms and what have you.
I don't know. I just guess I disagree, to be honest, because I don't want to go on. But I'm going to get off right now. But nice talking to you people.
Yeah.
Nice regardless, thank you for being on.
Have a good one.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Dang, I was dealing with a picture. I wanted to argue against him.
Marcus.
Yeah. Listen,
I was waiting for you to come in, bro.
I dealt with majority of these trolls, so I know how to curve their little BS.
Who is their leader? Bring him on. I think I know who.
Yeah, we probably already know. Wait, why? Oh, you're presenting a picture. That's why I can't see you guys.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But hey,
and Juan Shalom, I just want to say I'm so sorry at what happened. I mean, unfortunately, these trolls decided to hop on and show pictures of their what, and it kind of ruined the whole live stream a little bit, but it's all right. You know what I'm saying? These are just people with no life.
No, I mean, it's all good, dude. It's actually funny because this technically, I guess, would be the first, debate we've had on this podcast where people that are completely opposed jumped on and we, hashed it out for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I bring that type of energy. I'm sorry.
I mean, we expected something to happen, Radical. Which is funny, dude. I like pinned a comment in the chat. I was like, we're getting dislike bombed because of the Hispanistas and other hater subscribers rushed to the like button, defend us, and they did. We had like 57 likes. So.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. That's what's up.
57-15, so they did defend us, bro.
All right.
I was gonna ask, hey, Pocho and Ralphie, maybe if you guys could introduce yourselves real quick. Everyone, you guys seem to, or Pocho,
yeah, sure,
help us out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I go by the name of Pocho, also known as Pocho Status. I actually used to have a YouTube channel where I had about a good like 200 or so subscribers. Basically, unfortunately, after the Trump election or the 2020 election, I was getting out of some of the extreme circles that I was hanging around at the time online. Unfortunately, I do come from like a very, anti-POC type community, like a white nationalist community. And I was brainwashed by a lot of that stuff at one point. And I was trying to find an identity after I realized that stuff wasn't for me, that, I'm a brown person and whatnot. And I kind of got sucked into some, anti-black circles on the internet with somebody that I'm not going to name because I don't want to give that person any attention. But basically, I had a channel where I would upload a lot of pro-Latin, quote-unquote, things, but at the same time, a lot of anti-black content. And I gained somewhat of a popularity because of that until my channel was booted off. And so I met Radical Latino, and he and I actually go back a few months ago where we were kind of debating back and forth with each other about a lot of the different views that we had and the opposing opinions that I had compared to his worldview. And I realized that his unification of, so-called Latin people and understanding the system that we live in this country, and that there's no need to beef with other minorities and stuff like that. I embraced that message, and ever since I've been a friend, somewhat of an online friend of Radical Latino. I've been in many of his live streams. I've debated a lot of different people on his live streams, and I decided to hop on because I'm somebody that contributed to a lot of the information about, for example, the copper terminology that we want to apply to our people now. I'm somebody that did contribute a lot of that to the conversation. So that's kind of my background.
Very interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. I kind of saved Pocho from early demise.
Yeah.
He's one of my testimonials.
My descent into the alt-right.
Yeah. He was somebody that was very opposed or whatever. But he actually got a huge, harsh wake-up call to the point where he actually called me up and we had a first-time 2-hour conversation. Remember that?
I definitely remember. Yes, on Instagram.
Yeah. Yep. We had a 2-hour conversation of his wake-up call, and he was like, "Dude, everything you said, you was spot on." I don't think if he wants to talk about what was his wake-up call, but I'll keep that private until he wants to talk about it. But it's something that I've always said. It's something I've always been attacked from the Hispanistas, but it's something that I had a strong stance in because I've seen this happen plenty of times. It never happened to me, but I've seen it happen plenty of times.
Yeah, you can honestly say that Radical Latino, despite the name, actually de-radicalized me, which is kind of funny. You know what I'm saying?
That is funny.
Yeah, very.
No, I'm glad you contributed to this conversation with the copper matter and then dropping that book. So because I definitely intend to read it. So I really thank you for that. Yeah, you contributed majorly.
Yeah, because none of these ideas, at the end of the day, none of these ideas are new. Like indigenous nationalism, indigenous ethnic identity, opposed to Spanish-centric culture, opposed to the Criolla system, which is basically the system of white supremacy, but in Latin America. You know what I'm saying? It's like their version of white supremacy. These things are not new. These things have gone back decades ago, even more than decades ago. right? Ever since, you could trace all this stuff back all the way to the Mexican Revolution. You know what I'm saying? So I'm somebody that has read a lot of literature, both in English and Spanish about this stuff. And the whole Raza Cobriza thing really, it stuck with me. I was like, wow, Raza Cobriza. Not only does that sound very cool, right? The copper race, but it's a beautiful transformation and a beautiful blending of both the indigenous people and the so-called mestizo people as one body.
Right. And like, yeah. And what really caught my attention is you said like an indigenous, like, person or scholar wrote this. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm eager to jump into that and just see all the details and the particulars. But, I mean, yeah, you're right. Copper just sounds cool. I mean, it sounds positive, and that's what we need, for our people, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah.
And then, Ralphie, maybe you could tell us a little about yourself. I don't really know you too well, so maybe the audience could also learn a little bit, if you're not busy driving.
Oh, he just he sent
sure.
a message. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, sorry. I was wondering. I have my account right here ready. I'm in a different workstation right now.
Okay,
so,
sure, no problem. I got you in.
I'll leave and I'll come back in.
And I see more. You're on. Welcome.
Hey guys, nice to be here once again with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for being on, More.
Yeah, thanks for being on. You must have seen a lot of crazy stuff going on from certain people.
I know. But I also noticed that you guys have been growing in your views. I remember starting from 22. Now you have like so many watchers live, which is amazing.
Hey, thanks, man. We appreciate that. Yeah, we almost got to like almost 60 views, so that was kind of cool. But
Marcus, could we switch back to our faces? Rob was saying he can't see them.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll switch off that real quick here.
Yeah, Marcus, remember, you just put that picture up when you're bringing somebody new in. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I got you, yeah. I'm just learning all this now. Sorry, guys, I'm not as
Yeah.
No, it's all good, Marcus.
technologically savvy as I thought I was.
You're better than me, bro, because I don't even do that stuff.
Appreciate it, man. But yeah, Ralph, are you back in?
Yeah, I'm here. You want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, if you could, please.
Okay, yeah, sure. Like a little short introduction. Well, obviously my name's Ralph. My alias whether it's on Instagram or Discord or YouTube usually is Plucky. If you guys maybe interacted with me, that's who I am. If anything, to simplify who I am, I'd probably say I'm just a Bay Area native. Work at maintenance. I'm a blue collar worker. I do have a bachelor's though, which is odd. Just can't find work with the whole art scene and stuff. So legitimate work with actual healthcare and a good pension and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much who I am. I do write. Besides, I'm a screenwriter. I'm working on side projects that I've always wanted to work on. I also do illustrations. I'm also working on a graphic novel at the moment. But it's a lot of stuff in the back burner. But that's just a little bit about me, though. But yeah.
Thank you. I knew your voice sounded familiar. You were from the Discord. You're Plucky. All right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Now I recognize you. Oh, yeah. No. Shout out to you for being a fellow writer, man. I have respect for a lot of writers. It's a hard craft. It's a hard craft to get down.
Yeah, it is. But on another note, I was also I was one of your first viewers on when you guys started, 9 months ago, somewhere around, I think, was it just last year or this year? I forgot.
Yeah, December 31st.
Yeah, December 31st when we started.
Yeah, so I was there since the beginning. If anything, just I don't know. I thought it was just interesting something to just an input, but whatever.
Yeah. No.
Oh wow! Shout out to yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Been around for a little while now. It's been a fun
Yeah, it's
ride.
growing. It's
Yeah,
growing.
thank you.
All right, shout out to y'all.
Not just on the internet, by the way, it's growing in real life too. Like, I don't know if you guys read that article that shows that there's been a huge increase, a huge percentage in people identifying as Native American in America because of the Latino population. You know what I'm saying? So I think the work that we're doing, I think the work that Mexican Excellence has done, and even the Mexica movement from a few years ago, even though I do have some criticisms of the Mexica movement, that's fine. We could leave that for some other day. But they have done a lot of great work, especially in places like Los Angeles, really waking up our community, waking up our people to these realities, to say, you know, hey, you're indigenous. This is who you are. And because of that, I feel that a lot of Latinos have identified, finally, for the first time in history, as Native American, indigenous people in America from the 2020 census.
Yeah. It's thanks to efforts like people like Mexican Excellence and other people that have that message. So I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I was surprised by how much progress was made with the census. So I can't wait to see what 2030 will be like, or who knows? Maybe copper will be on 2030, bro. Like, we'll see.
Hey, we got a lobby, bro. We got a lobby.
We got a lobby.
Yeah, man. But Radical, I was going to ask you, like, what's the most, like, the worst type of problems these, Hispanistas have, like, caused you? Like, have they sent you death threats?
Yeah, I've gotten some death threats from them. I've gotten besides the troll and down.
Bro, there was a whole 4chan. There was a whole 4chan thread dedicated to Radical Latino. Remember that, Rad?
Yeah. They did that. They have gotten they went through Reddit, and there was a small little section about me in Reddit. I've gotten some interesting. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently, I've gotten them so emotionally triggered that they think about me.
Dude, Radical. So, like, did it ever, like, at the start of it, like, I mean, because I don't know what type of dude you are. There's some people that are just really different, like, emotionally speaking. But did that ever, like, bother you at the start? Like, oh, I got all these haters that, like,
no,
just
to be honest, dude. To be honest, if you know me in real life, I'm super laid back. I have a really goofy personality. I laugh about things that when people make fun of me, I laugh about it. If it's actually funny, I'll laugh about it. I don't take nothing serious at all. Like the last picture that they had me with something else, I found that hilarious. I found that funny. I don't take nothing that really is being said or anything serious, because the majority of the time it's not even true. It's whatever. So whatever. Who cares?
I think that's a good attitude to have, because I remember one of your videos you were saying that obviously, like, the topics we cover are serious, right? But you were saying in terms of online beef, you just treat it like WWE, bro. So
I do, because this whole thing is basically, like I said before, and I even said it in personal conversations, this is like WWE. This is like Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage, Summer Madness, and all this other stuff. This is all entertainment. You know, the majority of the time, these guys are not going to meet up with anybody. All these threats that I've gotten so far, it's not gonna happen. You know what these guys are gonna do? If they ever see me in real life? What they're gonna do is they're gonna want to take a photo, and then they're gonna say, "I remember on episode 53, you said." They're super fans, bro. They're super fans. So yeah, I don't care about them. You know what I mean? All of that stuff, that's all entertainment. Who cares?
I love your artwork, man. It's so funny. Like, again, I don't want to name drop, but you as the Hulk.
Yeah, you come up with some pretty funny shit.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
No, not just that, but that person, I'm not gonna name drop, right? But that person that wanted to be a rapper, Rad, remember I said you better keep that same energy, bro.
Dude.
You better keep that same energy, bro.
I'm from the mean streets of Inglewood. Listen.
Yeah. Keep the same energy, homie.
Listen, there's gonna be one that I'm gonna drop soon. Not soon, but in a few weeks. and I hopefully you guys will enjoy the artwork on that one. It's gonna be a small skit. Just look forward for it. It's gonna be in the same level of my 2 skits that I did of a certain person with a couple of numbers at the end of it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I don't know, but the way I handle certain criticism is I do in a comedic take. I think that's my uniqueness towards it. You know what I mean? I'll talk about it, but I like to do it in a comedic take because in reality, what I'm really saying is I find you guys as a clown, like as a joke. You guys are clowns to me, so it doesn't really matter. You guys do not sway me whatsoever into any. You know what I mean? So that's how I take it.
Nah, man, they better keep that same energy if they ever meet me in real life, bro. They better keep that same energy, bro.
Okay, all right.
Or when you talked about a knockout game, and you said there is going to be a knockout game if MX comes next to me.
Dude, I just remember that you just destroyed him because you're like, bro, all you do is just say shut the fuck up with your D-pads. Well, you don't do shit. Besides, that's all you know how to say.
Oh my god, dude! It's just funny. It's just funny that it's funny that some first of all, I come up with these things like out of nowhere, but it's funny like some of these people just they really think that they're like intellectuals, and mind you, the caliber of intellectualism is based on some of the trolls that were coming up in here. You know what I mean? That's what they bring to the table. That's what they bring to the table. A bunch of nonsense and penis pics. That's it. That's what they bring to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Craziness. Hey, thank you, Golkun, for the compliment. I was going to ask more real quick. You've been watching this about, I assume maybe since it started tonight. So I was curious on your thoughts on, like, maybe the debate that we had a little bit earlier with that guy. And to be honest about that guy, was he respectful for the most part? The Hispanista?
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind. I mean, we just had our disagreements, but it didn't turn ugly in any way. So I thought
that's actually surprising. Yeah, it was actually surprising.
I thought he was going to get worked up or maybe insult, but it's like, no, we just view things differently. I mean, like, we said what we had to say, but I mean, we're not going to change each other's minds really on this.
Yeah. You know what you should do, Juancho Lola? This is just a suggestion. Obviously, it's your channel. You don't have to, you don't have to take this. But for the people who believe that the caste system, right, the realities of the caste system, for people who believe that that's a myth and that didn't exist, or that this is part of some smear campaign from whatever conspirators they imagine to be real in their heads, right? And I'm obviously talking about the Hispanista crowd and the far righters and all that stuff. You should really upload a video, really going through the documents and all the records from Spanish colonial Mexico or Spanish colonial South America or wherever that proves that there was a caste system, that they did discriminate against people that they classified as Lobo or Mestizo or what have you, and that this is not just something that's made up for the purpose of demonizing the reputation of the Spanish Empire. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We can do that. But I mean, like, dude, I've even just found it in my own genealogy. You do any Mexican genealogy, you go back to the before 1820, and you see all the caste labels. They're there with the Catholic records, with the so I mean, it's obvious. It was obvious it's there. You have mestizo, mulatto, all of them. They're right there. I mean, you can access it from Family Search. You can access it from Ancestry, DNA. And, I mean, it's irrefutable. You can't really, like, to deny that there was one is ridiculous. Why would there be these labels then at these church records, right?
Yeah, and why would certain people gain privileges based on those records and those labels too, if it was such a race-blind society?
Right. I mean, you even have a scholarly book, Before Mestizaje by Ben Benson III. I've cited that thing so many times. It's like, go read it if you doubt there's a guess. Yeah.
And the thing about it is that it just goes against their little argument talking about why it gotta be all race-based and stuff. And I'm like, that's what you guys do. You know what I'm saying? That's what you guys do literally all the time. Calling yourselves mestizo, that's being race-based.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another racial category. Like, that's why I think it's so funny when the people of Mexico, they're like, oh, aquí no somos racistas. And I'm just like, you guys are just as racist. It's like, you might not call it race, but it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, they may not call it white, but they'll call it Espanol. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's the same shit.
But I believe Mar was asked a question. What was his take on this whole stream?
Yeah, Mar.
Or more like, yeah, like what do you think? Like, because I mean, as we kept talking more about it, like Radical really likes copper. Like, what have you been swayed more? Because I know more he was more for Brown, right? So what do you think more?
Yeah, thank you guys for asking me. I was just kind of hopping in and out of the streaming, so I followed a little bit with what the guy was saying, but I also took notice of how well the copper category has been received. I personally have never heard the copper category. I was kind of swaying more toward brown, but like I said, I'm not very set in stone in that category. But now that I keep hearing, copper, it sounds really nice. And that could be, I mean, that could be like a great tool to create a union. Yeah, to create a union between not only the race people here in North America, but all over South America and Central America, and not only that, but also the political benefits that could have in terms of pushing legislation in favor of also different races, like if copper were to exist, and I'm
not gonna lie, the copper symbol, like as a element symbol, is actually kind of badass. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't even looked it up. Let me look it up.
Bro, I'm telling you, just the term sounds badass. Just the term sounds badass. La Raza Cobriza, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in Spanish it sounds really badass too. Like Cobriza sounds badass.
But I cut you off, bro. Go ahead, man.
No, I mean that's really cool. I was just gonna add that. I mean, I think that people would also want to know, like, yes, that sounds like a really cool name, but like, in what ways would it directly benefit me, or as direct as possible? How could it benefit me? And I think that one of the benefits to identifying yourself as a copper person would be, pushing legislation here, but also in other countries that can unite through the race category. Like Guatemala, for example, when I did my video, I had no idea that Guatemala, most of the people there are copper people or brown people. They are that, and like very low percentage of their population are white people. So if people can identify themselves as that, I believe that they can unify in terms of their political parties, the laws that they push and things like that. And I think that would have such a great impact in countries like Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, where the native population is still very much more than the European or other races in those countries. But what ends up happening a lot of times is that a lot of those countries, Latin American countries, they are held behind through corruption and other negative aspects because they don't have a unifying vision. And this is my opinion, because they don't have a unifying vision of themselves with the rest of the country. So being able to identify yourself as this copper would be such a great movement, not only here in the United States, but also in all of the Americas.
And more, what did you think about Pocho's point, the fact that it came from an indigenous person, like the term itself, like coined for race purposes?
That's even better. And you know what? That's what I was trying to articulate in the video that we've made, that we need to be the ones doing this creation. Yeah. We need to be pushing these ideas and the idea of unification. We ourselves have to do it, because otherwise we're just going to be passive takers of name calling, and sometimes it benefits people, like, for example, a lot of people use mestizo because it benefits them in a way, because a lot of people are racist towards Native Americans. So you don't want to say you're Native American, you want to say you're mestizo, because in some ways it's going to benefit you just a little bit, and that's why sometimes people keep carrying that out.
That's true.
So we need to be
Marcus, I sent you an email. Maybe if you have the chance to upload it on on the thing. Whenever he gets a chance to upload it. By the way, that's the symbol of copper. I'm just saying it'll look badass in the flag. I'm just saying, I don't know. It looks kind of cool to me. That's a pretty nice symbol. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Here in a second.
Yeah, go ahead and share it here to say I'm curious to see what it is, Marcus.
That's the I believe that the chemical, you know the periodic table. That's the symbol for copper. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
I want to say something in addition to what I was saying. I mean,
Rad is getting into some Jimmy Neutron shit.
In addition to what I was saying is that the native population that are here, they have some benefits that I've heard of. I'm not completely knowledgeable of all the benefits that they enjoy, but I want to point out that a lot of the people, the brown people that live here and the copper people that live here in the United States, their parents came from their country, from their native country, like, for example, me from Peru, because the political system is messed up. So I believe that having this new copper category and pushing that could change a lot of things positively in their countries and, in our everyday life.
Yo, don't that look like that's
Wait,
that's
what
tough.
is this?
That's the copper symbol.
No, from the element table. That was like literally like a
no CU. That I know
Yeah.
the CU, but apparently this is another symbol also.
But where is that symbol from?
I don't know, dude. I just googled it and it said copper symbol. Man, it looks cool.
This could be like not to LARP or anything, but this could be like our flag. Like if we were to ever create some type of movement, like this could be our flag. You know what I'm saying?
It could work. It's interesting. Thomas, Oklahoma said red and brown connect, click equals copper, which is true. I mean, you mix red and brown, it does form a copper color. It's interesting too.
Does it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Shit! Well, there you go. Even more reason to use the term copper. There you go.
Actually, now I'm getting on board to this shit.
I was against it. Even more reason, bro. Even more reason.
It makes sense.
I mean, like I'm gonna read this book that Pocho was mentioning. Like, I definitely want to, because then I can explain much more of it, especially for people that don't know how to read Spanish. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely leave a comment after this live stream is uploaded. I will leave a comment. Maybe you could pin it. Like I said, it's a very good book. It's really it's a fascinating read. It's not going to waste your time. Okay, this is a really deep dive into what all this stuff is really about, which is really our freedom. That's what this is about. This is about our freedom from the Criollo system, right? And what's even more badass too is that the person who wrote that book is an actual political prisoner in Peru. He's been locked up for many years by the Criollo government for allegedly conspiring against the government. Back in 2005, him and a small team of guerrilla warfare soldiers of his, because he also has like a little militia. They actually successfully overthrew the government, the Criollo government of Peru, back in 2005. Like, there was actually a successful coup to put in more indigenous people in power in Peru. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, he was locked up. And he wrote this book from a prison cell. So, like I said, not only does this actually come from an actual indigenous person, this comes from an indigenous activist. It's somebody who's actually trying to create a movement of indigeneity and really indigenous nationalism in South America. But obviously, it would apply to Mexico and Central America, and even here too.
No, yeah, that's what just makes it much more fascinating. That's why I'm really, really pulled into it. Marcus, do you feel any special type of way the fact that this guy is an indigenous person from Peru, of all places, and you happen to be from Peru? You were born in Peru. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. It feels really great to know that someone from my birth country, could think of something like this to unify us all, together. And I don't think that there's enough talk about it. I think even in Peru, or even obviously in the United States, like most people don't know about that are like trying to reconnect. So I think it's really important that we're discussing about this tonight, and makes me happy. So
yeah. Hey, listen, guys. I'm sorry that I gotta wrap it up. I'm trying to. It's kind of late over here and stuff.
oh,
But
it's 3.
yeah. But
We understand.
any last questions or anything that you guys want to ask me or?
Oh, okay. Well, they keep asking in the comments, so I guess we'll see what's up. But they keep saying that you think that the Afrocentrics have a real basis or claim to being native, or like the Olmecs. Like, is that true, or what is your stance on that?
No. At first, I keep on finding conflicting information on that. There's information that said that black folks were here before, I believe, before Columbus even came. There's other information that says he wasn't. So I'm not really heads or tails with any of that. I'm just gonna say I don't know. There are some people who are Afrocentrics that go off the cuff and just say things that I'm like, no, I don't think that's true, but I'm gonna just say I don't know. I've been corrected a few times based on that notion, but again, I haven't done my deep dive research on that. And again, I said this plenty of times, where people even ask me on that, and I'm giving the same answer I always give. I really don't know. If somebody could educate me more on that, I'll be happy to do so. But again, I keep on finding conflicting information when it comes to the research that I come across.
Tell you what. When I email you the copper definition, all that for the polls, I'll have a link to it's like an hour long podcast, but it's very good. It's by this guy named Curly Tlapoyawa. He's an indigenous man, and he is a what do they call it? An archaeologist, right? He's an archaeologist, and he's involved with the sciences. And he goes into an hour explaining why those claims are false and how there's no actual scientific basis for it accepted in the community. So he definitely explains it very well. So give it a listen. Just with an open mind. Give it a listen. I'll send it to you, like link to the podcast. I mean, just give it a listen, see what you think.
Yeah, and also a PDF of that resource that you gave with the proving that the thing that you proved in this program. I don't know if you remember the book that you just you proved. You know what I mean? But yeah. With that being said, let me just say, if you guys want to follow me on YouTube, The Radical Latino, you know what I'm saying? Also, I got my podcast, The Radical Latino, is on every major podcast site right now. Also, you guys could hit me up on my website, radicallatino.com. I got a lot of interesting news articles. That's something new that I've been trying to do, to get more traffic into my site. I've been putting out news articles that I believe is interesting, and also things that's going to actually inform us a little bit more on certain political and social things out here. So definitely go check that out, radicallatino.com. And I'm going to just say thank you very much for having me, guys.
No, certainly. We'll link your podcast there in the description, man. Thank you again for being on here, and I'll email you all that information. I just remember what book you were talking about. I'll email you that information too.
Thank you. And again, my apologies for some of these Hispano thefts, and you know what I mean, coming in trying to troll, because again, as I said before, if you're going to if you're not going to actually defend your point and you're just going to go into random trolling, you automatically lost the conversation. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I was gonna say, if certain hispanistas like that are prominent want to debate us, do you want to get in on that action and have a mass debate on here?
Yeah, I'll be down, because they ain't gonna do it on my platform. So I'll be down for that. To be honest with you, would really want to see Mexican excellence debate one of these Hispanistas. To be completely honest with you, because she's well more rounded than I am.
I mean, we could possibly make that happen too, or somebody else that is just as well rounded. It'd be an interesting exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that being said, thank you very much, guys, for having me, and more power to you guys and your uprise on this platform.
Thank you very much, man. You have a good night, man.
All right, peace.
Had myself on mute.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were about to say something, bro.
No, all I said was it was a pleasure, and like, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thank you.
I think the other guy left already.
Yeah, Pocho. Well, I mean, I'll just say, Pocho, shout out to you. I'll look forward to your comment again with the book down in the description. Thank you again, man.
Yeah, thanks, Pocho. I was gonna ask, guys, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was that Hispanista to debate? Was he just like on a 1 being like easy and 10 being hard? Is it like pretty difficult? His argument?
What's 5?
5 is like in the middle. Like,
what? Like,
I mean, just like somewhat difficult, but not extremely. Like,
so,
I would say 6.
6?
6, yeah.
What was the main point that he was trying to articulate?
Wasn't he, Juancholo, did you know? Because I was.
Yeah, I mean, he was just basically saying that we shouldn't use United States racial points of view when, like, the rest of Latin America doesn't follow that. They think differently in terms of, like, oh, you can be both, you're a mixture or whatever. Whereas here in the U.S., like, it's kind of anathema to us to be, like, thinking of mixture. Like, we're just like, no, you're just one thing you identify with. So that was his point. But, I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's really just opinion, because it's just like, well, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you feel how you feel, right?
I want to say something about that, but have we moved on from that conversation, or can I say something?
I mean, if you'd like to say something, that's fine, man. We'll probably be ending here soon, though, because it is getting late.
Yeah, but please.
But please go ahead. Yeah.
Well, immediately, what just came to my mind is, like, isn't that similar to saying that because you're not in a tribe, you can't be that? Just because we're not part of Latin America, we can't, be part of unified racial group because we don't have the same, culture and language and ideas. We can't, speak with them about the race category. It seems similar to saying that because you're not in a tribal community, because you don't live a tribal life, you can't speak on their community or on that kind of people. It feels a little bit like that of what the way that the Hispanista guy was trying to go. So I would say, like, no, that I don't think that just because we're not part of Latin America like that, it automatically disqualifies us from not being able to use what we know and how we grew up in the sort of framework that we have. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. He was also just trying to imply, like, oh, the whole world thinks like the way Latin America does in terms of, like, you can be both. And this is like, I disagree. I'm pretty sure a lot of European countries has similar to what we have in the United States, where it's like you're kind of one thing, like you identify with that one thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, can I ask Ralph, what genres do you focus on your screenwriting?
Oh man, I was just typing in in a private chat here just to link up. So pretty much what I'm working on is so this graphic novel, it was original graphic novel, but essentially what I want to do with it is probably make it to a web series. Because I minor also in animation, and it's gonna be like a hybrid of like a motion comic with like a traditional animation, like frame by frame with a 24 or 30. But then, like, with the dialogue stuff, would be like, kind of like a comic book or some shit like that. Right? So, something like that. And but genre-wise, pretty much it's the graphic novel. I'm specifically kind of like focus most of my attention towards would be fantasy based, but it's a reflection of, to be honest, what we're actually talking about. It's a reflection of how the world is perceived. So yeah, we do got 3 Peruvians alive. Well, I'm not Peruvian, which is another thing I could get into. I'm an American. I'm not a Peruvian citizen. I mean, Marcus can, he was born in Peru, so I'm assuming. Do you even have sorry, just to digress, but like, do you have a citizenship in Peru, Marcus? I'm just curious.
I don't think so. That's
you don't?
A good question.
Even though you were born there, though, right? You know what I mean? Like you.
Yeah, but I was adopted, so I'm not.
It wouldn't.
100% sure.
Okay.
I need to double check my files. my
okay. No, sorry. I was just curious. I was just wondering because I forgot you were adopted. I didn't know you were born there. I thought you were adopted and you were born in the States. But
yeah, I was adopted from there. But
okay.
Yeah, I'd have to check my files and I'll get back to you probably in the Discord.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't be sweat about it, bro.
Ralph, is your background also Peruvian? Is that what they say? There are 3 Peruvians in the chat?
Well, so like I identify myself as an American, United States citizen.
Of course.
Culture-wise, I grew up with my proximity, so pretty much the Bay Area. We do have our own way we speak. Just give an example. You guys use bruh a lot, right? Like BRUH.
Yeah.
That came from us, right?
Of course, bruh.
Yeah, bruh. Like it came from like that hella all these lingos you guys pretty much use. It came from our. Well, when I say our, I'm 30. All right, I'm 31. So I'm like was born in 1990. There's people who were born like in the 80s. And they had more pioneering, and we were part of that. That movement as well, which you guys use bruh a lot. I mean, we use bruh since what, the 90s? Like even close. I mean, that's from what I remember. Probably even before then, but it was consistently used amongst the minorities in the Bay Area. But okay, besides that, what you originally asked me was about my. But okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm technically, racially, I'm indigenous. I was like I said, I'm a cholo. I think it's like I'm like 74.7% indigenous. I think it's like about 10 to 9% Spanish. And then like the other like 6 or 7 would be like French, and then like Italian. Just how to make up. I got my DNA test from 23andMe, but my indigenous, I guess, DNA comes from Peru. My grandpa is from Huancayo. But Vilca. He's from Vilca. But pretty much is like, that's just like a small. It's not a town, but it's like an actual. Now it's considered like a. What is it? What's that word I'm looking for? A natural, not a natural park, but like kind of like a. It's pretty much. It's kind of like a tourist spot. It's like a really, really small pueblo. But then Huancayo, yeah, Huancayo, right, More?
Dude, I grew up in Huancayo.
Oh shit, we might be
for 10 years.
10 years, but were you born there? I mean, were you?
Yeah, I was. I'm from Peru, and I grew up here, but very much like you. Ever since I was 10, I grew up here, so I feel myself very much an American.
Yeah, the majority of years that you feel like pretty much where you grew up is pretty much that's what I'm always about, defines who you are. And I can get into like Juan Chola and Marcus. I know you guys grew up in the Midwest and like in Alabama, right? So you guys are a little bit like kind of like within your own community, proximity wise, you guys are like a bit distant within your fellow members of fellow. I mean, I can't tell you, I can't say like who's your best friend when you grew up with. I can say that like I literally still have friends around, even though with the whole gentrification of like the Bay Area and stuff, we still out here. And we're still, I'm still. That's just how I feel, but that's just my opinion. But yes, more. I guess, I don't know. Racially, I'm indigenous from Peru, from the Huanca people, which my grandpa always told me that Quechua actually originated from the Huanca people around what's that province? I believe it's Huancavelica. I believe that's the province that Huancayo is in. No, it's in Junin, right? Junin. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, that's my racial makeup. Now you asked me about the fantasy stuff. which is a reflection of the topics that we're speaking about. One of my main graphic novel, which I'm trying to turn into a web series. So I mean, hopefully no one steals my IP. I'm just assuming like it's if it's good, right? But it's a play on. You guys ever heard or ever played Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty much it's what the title of the graphic novel / web series is Races and Classes. So it deals with the social. It's kind of like not a parody, but I would say it's more of just a reflection of what's going on right now, especially me living in the States and seeing how, especially the issues that we're encountering. I'm assuming everyone's here is like part Indigenous. The reason why I brought up about I wasn't down with the whole copper stuff is because it's kind of similar to the whole Latin. It's like the same approach of the whole Latin thing and the Hispanic thing, which is generalizing a big demographic, diverse demographic, but it's just that issue. It's pretty much, which is pretty much that. It's just, sorry, I don't want to get too into it because I know we're kind of at the end of the stream right now, and also I'm not turning this into my little segment of, all right, let's talk about my IP called Races and Classes. But pretty much what it is again, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. So you have the main bases like elves, dwarves, and humans mainly. And then you have, the mystical monsters, dragons and all that. But those dragons and monsters actually represents, for instance, like in Dungeons and Dragons, you have these dragons or big monsters who are very high level. And pretty much I use the leveling system as a define of the society of what's considered power. Usually power is associated with money, right? The more money, the more value you have, the more power you have, the more lobbying thing you're able to do below the table. I mean, I know it's not necessarily well known when it comes to lobbying in the Americas, but we assume it's pretty much happening, right? When it comes to what's the word? Legislations? I butchered that. But pretty much it's just a reflection of that. And just like so pretty much what it is elves would be more like if you believe in the whole racial thing, like the Mongolian, was it Caucasian, and like I forgot the word for Africa. I forget what it was. But pretty much it's just like, all right, you got the dwarves who are the white people, the Oriental people or the Asian people, quote unquote, are pretty much the elves, and you have like different different divide, like a sun elf, moon elf, which would be considered Polynesian, the East Asians, and then you have the blood elves who are considered the Native Americans. And then, it's pretty much that Dungeons and Dragons, but think of it like as if it was cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Like with that kind of setting. So then you have that, and then pretty much I tell stories the way I want to tell a story, which is pretty much unconventional, which is to get different writers from different, from the web. I forget what was the website that I use to find voice actors, but pretty much it's to just have people from different areas, whether it's West Africa, East Africa, some parts in Atlanta or New York, because I can only tell my story, which is within my limits, which is what I experience. And
write what you know.
Exactly. Well, right. Yeah. Write what you know. So like pretty much what it is I want to get a collective of people. It's kind of like a collaboration of writers, but not it's pretty much each segment or episode, which would be like what, 10 to 15 minutes. If we're going with the web series rules, pretty much it's just telling a short story per episode. And then, we just use those like placements of like what elves and dwarves and shit will be really talking about the issues between white people and Native Americans and like the white. So like humans will be black people, actually will be Africans, and then like just pretty much that's what it is. But sorry to go on a little tangent there, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Dude, we need to link up on the comments because I am actually trying to write 2 like screenplays and things like that, and I even bought Robert McKee's story in the Hollywood Standard to how to write a script. When you have to format it and things like that. So we can, dude. We should definitely like exchange ideas.
Oh yeah, dude. More. Are you on the Discord right now, more or no? Is he?
No, I don't understand how to use that app. But
Okay.
if,
Yeah, dude. We'll exchange like within the shadows where we exchange. We'll exchange info. Don't worry about it.
for sure.
No, but
That's
Ralph,
crazy.
I was just gonna say I really respect it, man. Like, people don't understand when they're not writers, like how much creativity, how much energy is devoted to even just a single page of content, or even brainstorming the mechanics of the world that you're building. So it's really hard work, man. So I really respect you as a fellow writer.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, from a writer to another writer, and I'm assuming more as a writer too, right?
Yeah.
So like we're all like the same mindset. So
yeah, we all got that creative juice, man.
Yeah. I was just just opening up my little my head there and just let it seep out, just to see if anyone grabs it or not. But according to the comments, it looks like everyone's like peacing out. So
now you can always come on again and reintroduce that, man. It's just that it's just late, so that's why people were like dropping off.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a pitch ready, so like I can
so, dude, I understand. Pitches are hard to come up with, man. Especially when like let's say you're pitching to a publisher and they're like, "Oh, come up with a 45-word pitch." I'm just like, "How the fuck am I supposed to do that for this whole book, man?" So.
Yeah, true, but I am getting a little tired. Oh,
yeah, poor Marcus got to go to work, bro, at 8 a.m., man.
Well, no, I've got to work tomorrow, Saturday. We're good.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah.
But I was going to say more. I can show you how to do the Discord if you want to, like, download it, and then we can get you in so y'all can chat.
I feel like such a millennial because I have no idea. It's like a lot going on, but that would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Once you download it, I'll send you the link to the Discord, and we all can start chatting in there. But do you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up? If not, then maybe we'll wrap it up. Are we all good? Moore and Ralph?
I'm good. Copper. I'm down with the copper train now. I didn't realize that's a little ploy on brown and red. I wasn't aware that I actually do make a copper color. Cause I'm an illustrator, so it's like I know that whole thing works. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It does make copper, or at least the tone. It looks like copper.
I'll whatever result Radical Latino has from his poll, I'll definitely post a screenshot on the community page for the channel. I'm probably going to re-poll everybody again. I'm probably just going to be like, well, just specifically copper, race, blah, 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 and see what people say. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
I noticed a Marco saying some things, but that was a little while ago. But that would be nice to address that in the next live for you guys.
Hey, sounds good. We're looking forward to it. But, gentlemen, thank you all for coming on the panel. It was a pleasure. To our
No doubt.
Yeah, thank you guys. To our viewers, subscribers, thank you so much for coming on. To the Hispanistas, I really hate you guys because I got to do some freaking editing now.
Wait, why you got to do it? Did I miss something?
But did you not see them change their pictures to?
Oh shit! No, I guess because it I don't know. I didn't notice for whatever reason. Yeah. Damn, that sucks, bro.
Yeah, right. They wanted to demonetize us, but whatever. That just means that like more people are knowing about us, and the Hispanistas are getting a little pissed. So but they're asleep. I think mommy told them to go to bed like around probably 12 at that time. So
yeah.
But except the one that was respectful, he's okay. But
shout out to that guy. That guy was cool.
Yeah, but that being said, again, thank you all for coming on. Wanchloa, you want to add anything?
To the haters, we hate you a lot. There.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it too. I hate. Oh, someone want me to say Vasconcelos? God dang it!
Do it.
All right, I said it. I said Vasconcelos.
You did.
Vasconcelos, bro. That's how you say it, man.
No, not this time.
Don't worry, Marcus. I butcher Spanish a lot too, so don't worry about that, dude.
Thanks. I appreciate the support, man. But all right, guys. Thank you all for coming on again, and we're gonna probably end this podcast. So you can all have a good night and a good sleep. Gonna end the broadcast now.